you must be mistaken. We are not doing a good Star Trek film today.
That's just like your opinion, man.
You say that a lot.
Yeah.
Of course, everything everybody ever says is just their opinion, man.
Yeah.
So, you got to come up with something. Remember, you even set the standard, which will be posted on Patreon, hopefully by the end of tonight, which is that Danny made it very, very clear. If you cannot rebut a point, then you must concede that point.
Okay.
Which means saying that's just your opinion, man, is not a rebuttal. And you know that. And yes, Anthony, I think you're right. I think I do put it somewhere around there. So I put it pretty low on my list. And we'll talk about why as we go through the review today, because it's not. And I even say this when we watched it together, and is that as a movie, it's not bad. It's as a Star Trek film that I have such a big problem with it. Now, and Mercer, the gallant, thank you so much, puts in $1, says, Admiral, your young friend is mistaken. I meant what I said. And now, to show that my intentions are sincere, I shall kill one of the prisoners. A quote from what actually is a good Star Trek film. So thank you for that, Mercer. So the problem is that in isolation, First Contact, I don't think is a bad film, but it's not in isolation. It is part of a larger narrative. And that narrative involves multiple series and films at this point. And unfortunately, just like in some ways The Last Jedi, this film craps all over much of the lore that was already set up. It destroys the Borg. It destroys Picard. In fact, it destroys. It even contradicts the last movie with things like Data. So there's just. But no, I know you guys think I'm crazy just because it's not my favorite.
Yeah, but you're not.
Sorry. So, yeah. So that's my hot take on it. What's yours?
You kind of almost ruined this movie for me. You got another super chat.
And Mercer, thank you, says, sometimes a movie is just a movie. I had fun watching Frozen Empire. I just enjoy watching it and First Contact. Well, we're going to talk about Frozen Empire tomorrow, so I will not comment
You did see it, right?
Yeah.
Good. Okay.
We wouldn't be talking about it if I didn't see it.
Well, I know, but last time never mind. It doesn't matter. All right, cool. Super chat. Nice.
But the problem, Mercer, is that Frozen Empire is a part of the Ghostbusters franchise. So if Frozen Empire started out with and just contradicted everything we saw in Afterlife, or contradicted all the stuff that we saw in the first two Ghostbusters films, then I would have a problem with that. Which is actually one of my big problems with Ghostbusters 2016, is it doesn't fit into the franchise anywhere.
You see my Criticlist review on that movie?
On Ghostbusters 2016?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, I gave it a 0. But I wrote a pretty lengthy review. I mean, I defended mine.
I don't think any movie would truly get a 0 from me, considering well, I'm not going to spoil the ending, but obviously even The Last Jedi doesn't get a 0, because every movie has things in it that are, and thank you for the subscription, Eric. Every movie in it has things that you can pluck that may be good, whether it be, hey, that was a well-directed scene, that was a well-done visual effect, stuff like that. And another new subscriber, thank you, Hamilton.
Nice.
Welcome, everyone. but when we look at uh, a movie that like Ghostbusters 2016, obviously there's a lot. And
Another
thank you, Jamie,
subscriber.
another new
Wow.
man. They're just pouring in all of a sudden.
Right on.
Keep it going. So, and remember, I can't really see the chat because I'm controlling the movie behind us.
Oh, Ariel's just roasting you like usual. So then you're upset with Best of Both Worlds because it destroyed the Borg as well, right? Was a comment
I'll tell you, and the big difference between the Borg and so Ariel, let me because fair challenge, however, and like Danny says, if you can't rebut, you must concede. But the problem is that no, because in Best of Both Worlds, and thank you so much, Alex, with a $20 super chat. Does this movie probably introduce me to Star Trek? When I first arrived in America, my dad took me to a Blockbuster. I saw display Patrick Stewart as Locutus, kind of like with Star Trek V, the memory is better than the film itself. Well, and if this is your first Star Trek, like this first thing you see, I can understand why you say this is the best Star Trek, right? Because, so I can totally get behind that, Alex. But back to what Ariel was saying. In Best of Both Worlds, the big difference between the Borg from Q-Who and the Borg in Best of Both Worlds is that in Best of Both Worlds...
I like how you just nonchalantly thanks the guy. He gave you $20. Alex,
I know, and
awesome.
I was halfway through a sentence, and I'm just trying to spit it out.
I would have stopped halfway, a third of the way, at the very beginning of a sentence to thank you, Alex, if you sent me $20. So,
all right, I'm sorry, Danny. Alex, I did say thank you to Alex already, but Alex, I truly do appreciate the support that you've given the channel. It means a ton to me, and I know it actually does mean something to Danny, even though he's a dick about it.
It does. That's why I wanted you to give him his flowers. Yes, thank you.
All right. But as far as the difference between the Borg in Q-Who and the Borg in Best of Both Worlds, and keep in mind that at the time, that was all the Borg content there was. At the time of Best of Both Worlds, that was just the second appearance of the Borg. And so the only major difference is that the Borg were not interested in people in Q-Who, but they were suddenly interested in assimilating people in Best of Both Worlds. Now, would that be a deal breaker? And if that just went unnoticed? Absolutely. However, they actually do, in dialogue, address it. Now, they don't, unfortunately, give an explanation to it because they never find out why the Borg changed, but they actually say in dialogue that the Borg have changed, which means that it's not just, oh, they retcon the Borg. No, the characters notice the Borg have changed.
Mm-hmm.
And Anthony, why was Q never held accountable for introducing the Federation to the Borg? First of all, how would you hold Q accountable? Put him in jail that he can then snap his fingers and disappear from?
Right.
And second of all, did Q really introduce the Federation to the Borg? Because I seem to recall somewhere around, 7 to 10 years before Q-Who is when the Raven encountered the Borg. So
Q just introduced the audience to the Borg, really.
Yeah, Q introduced us to the Borg, didn't introduce the Federation to the Borg. And not only that, but the Borg had clearly destroyed the outposts along the Romulan neutral zone. So the Borg were already in the Alpha Quadrant.
An argument could be made that Voyager retconned the Borg origin. I'm not going to make that argument. I'm just saying it could be made.
Well, we're not talking about Voyager tonight.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that was a true retcon. The whole thing with the Raven and all that.
Thank you, Anthony.
And yes, and we are, so for those of you that don't know, yes, Danny is now 24 days sober. And so looking forward to when that number is exponentially higher.
Me too, but I'm a I'm a sucker. So for little like milestones. So this is my first 30. This is my 24-hour to 29-day chip. I can't wait to get my 30-day chip. I'm excited about that. So I got what?
So you get that in 6 days.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. And Ben says, but the Raven was a private researcher from the Federation. They actually watch Voyager. They talk about how they had to get permission from the Federation to go exploring. So, yeah. Ben, I love you. I'm not trying to be mad at you. I'm just, it's me. I'm salty.
Yeah.
All right.
That's the name.
All right.
So do I get to finish my hot take? I never got to finish it.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Well, the ABJs tried to fight, saying Q who introduced the board to the Federation. No, he absolutely did not. Not canonically.
Again,
go ahead, Davey.
Introduced us to the Federation.
He introduced us, the audience. And Darth Locutus with a $10 super chat. Man, we are just doing awesome today. Thank you, guys. Says, I was about to say the dialogue in the neutral zone and Q who definitely made us aware that the Borg were already on the way. Dark Frontier and Regeneration just gave us additional pieces as to why. But Dark Frontier and first of all, Regeneration, actually, that's a whole other topic of discussion, because Regeneration is almost impossible to explain away and keep canon even somewhat sound. And Mercer with another $1 says, Q-Who wanted to assess the Q-Who Borg wanted to assess the potential threat of the tech, and they realized starships were not a threat, but they wanted to assimilate. No. Watch Q-Who, Mercer, and listen to the dialogue. The Borg are simply completely uninterested in biological life. The only thing they were interested in was that the Enterprise itself was raw material that they could use. That is canon. And Q even explains it to them. But back to Darth Locutus, with the Dark Frontier Regeneration. So when we look at Dark Frontier, which is the Voyager stuff, that's a total retcon. Because what they're saying is that the Federation knew about the Borg. And by the way, they had an accurate model of a Borg ship before they encountered the Borg. Which means not only did we know about the Borg, we even knew what their ships looked like. And yet, Picard was like, whoa, what is this? And you would think that Data, with his ability to access all Starfleet information, would immediately say, well, sir, that is a Borg vessel. We've had research ships go out and try to find them, but so far none have found the Borg, or they have simply disappeared trying to find them, aka the Raven.
Yeah, but that's the problem when they
that's
the
problem with the retcon.
Later. Yeah.
As for Regeneration, the problem with Regeneration is that, so if the Borg from First Contact, this movie that we're about to talk about, survived, and then we're
snap! Read this. That's so funny, because half of this you brought up while we were watching.
Oh yeah, we talk about this hardcore during our watch along Trek.
Yeah,
I absolutely.
That's crazy.
It's what's called the salty cut.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So now you don't have O'Brien, but that's kind of cool.
Future Calling says resistance is futile. Play me Death to Disco. Oh man, now I gotta find Death. All right. Just for you, because you were so nice. Let me find. It's in my asset drive, and I believe this. And come Bear with me. But yeah, we talk about it quite a bit. I don't talk about O'Brien, but I do think that the core of the movie should have been about Cisco and Picard coming to terms with their checkered past.
You said you would have replaced the Lily character with Cisco.
Yes.
It's actually, I was getting frustrated because he was having some really good ideas, and I do think it would have made the movie a lot better as a Star Trek film, doing it that way. So it was starting to like kind of annoy me because I've always loved this movie. And you were kind of eviscerating it in the world of Star Trek while we were watching it.
What can I say? Facts are facts.
Yeah.
Let's see. Is it in this folder? No. Bear with me. Music. Yeah, that's a video. No. Where the heck? I think I found it. All right. Okay. I see where it is now. So keep stalling for me.
Oh, I didn't know I was supposed to. I was.
Yeah, you're supposed to be stalling for me.
I was sharing out the link, but wow, I've actually got 6 people in my watching live on my channel. On your channel, what do we got here? We got 28. Right on.
Wow.
We're just getting started. Yeah, we're just talking to the chat, saying our hellos. In fact, speaking of the chat, what do we got here? We got Ariel. What does she say here? Then why were they wanting to use their technological and biological components to add to their own? Or was that only brought up in Best of Both Worlds?
That wasn't brought up until Best of Both Worlds.
Yes.
That was the first time we ever hear that.
Yes.
And so, there are lots of fan theories as to what. And by the way, the Disco Dice is uploading even as we speak. So bear with me, future guy.
I love this comment from Anthony Mark right here. I wish someone had asked Worf who was a better captain, Cisco or Picard, and he says, "My grandfather said Kirk was the best."
That would have been awesome. There is a Worf family tradition. Kirk is awesome. Oh, shoot. Now I forgot what I was going to say.
Oh, sorry.
I hate when I do that. Man, my brain just doesn't work anymore. What was I saying just before that?
I don't remember. So why? Because I was reading the chat.
I think it had to do with the salty cut. But
oh, well. If it's the chat.
But O'Brien definitely could have been there, although I would have kept his role limited. The main characters to bring in would be Worf and Cisco. You could also have Dax there, but again, like O'Brien, she would just have a couple of lines just to kind of say, hey, look, she's there too,
Yeah. O'Brien's not a bad idea, though, because he was on the show. Right. So that would have made, on the...
He and Worf are the only ones that served under both Cisco and Picard.
Yeah. So that actually would have been good. So, like, you could, every time, just like you said, every time you were mentioning, oh, that would be Dax right there, O'Brien could easily have replaced her in that scenario.
Right. Like, we could have done something like given some of, Lieutenant Hawk's lines to O'Brien or Dax. Poor Hawk. Oh, man. Or maybe the guy that doesn't know the number of decks on a starship when he comes on. That could have been O'Brien.
I know, right? I love how you...
And that actually would have made sense if O'Brien said they've taken decks 26 through 11. Well, O'Brien's never been on a Sovereign class starship, so maybe he thought that it had 26 decks. So
yeah. And what did Picard say? We have 24.
He says there's 24 decks.
Yeah, that was so funny when you pointed that out.
When talking to Lily. But I think that the the philosophical climax of the movie would have been the scene where Lily and Picard argue about blowing up the ship. Would have been such a better scene if it was Cisco and Picard. You know, I wouldn't have had Picard be quite so paranoid as he was, but you know, that could have been the time that Picard, and the way I talked about it when we were doing the watch along, is that instead of him explaining to Lily what we already knew, which is that he was assimilated,
right?
Cisco could have said something, some snide comment about how, you know, are you secretly on their side or something because you were one of them. And then he could go into a Patrick Stewart Shakespearean speech about what it feels like to be hooked into the collective and what it did to him. And so, and that way, and make basically Cisco understand that Locutus and Picard are not the same person. You know, they inhabited the same skin, but they're not the same person. Picard's consciousness was lost in the wave of the collective voice. Man, oh man, it is still uploading. It's taking forever because we're also broadcasting at the same time that I'm uploading it. So
I need to get this. I need to get this fella here to join us on the show. So on Twitter, because I just tweeted out the thing, John Makita, who's at Vanquish AZ, he says, I know The Wrath of Khan is a, quote, better movie, but man, First Contact is my all-time favorite Trek. The Enterprise E, the Borg, and Picard's for revenge, or sorry, Picard's lust for revenge is just perfection.
And see, that's what destroys it.
I know, that's so funny, because I mean,
I'm not.
I agree with this dude, but I know you don't. And it's so funny, but you'd make great points while we were watching the movie, and it was
Picard isn't the lust for revenge kind of guy. And the funny thing is that like, well, we'll get into and don't worry, Yosef. As soon as Disco is ready, I will play it, but it's at like 18% right now, so we'll talk about this a little bit. All right, so Star Trek First Contact. We have some very not Star Trek music over the opening credits.
I really like the music though, but you're right. They should have used the end credits version for the opening because it starts out with the
opening credits sound like end credits.
Yeah, they should have flipped them. Personally, yeah.
So our opening shot, granted, beautiful shot of Picard in a Borg alcove.
Super chat.
And Alex with another $1.99 says, I rewatched Wrath of Khan last night. Best Trek film. Well, you're not going to get any argument from me and probably anybody on that.
Oh, yeah, I mean, or me.
So very few people tried to argue that Wrath of Khan is not, if not the best, the second best, right behind Star Trek 6.
So, Anthony, I tell a cool, well, I think it's a cool story. I tell a little story on the watch along that'll be on supportsalty.com hopefully tonight, where I was in a debate in high school, and 1997 Policy Debate Champion San County. Anyway, and we were in I think we were like in Charlotte. We were out of town for a tournament when this movie was out, and I had already seen it. And I, huge Star Trek fan, I loved it. So I was really talking this movie up. Nobody else on the debate team was really into Star Trek. So like I talked them all into, like, we all went and saw this movie together. And this was like on a Thursday. So like basically we took up, it was mostly just us in the theater. So we had a lot of fun and I have really good memories of it. And when we left, all these non-Star Trek fans, everybody loved the movie. And so I have like this really fun, great memory of seeing it. But also, I guess in Salty's defense, it makes sense because none of them they were just watching it as a movie, not necessarily a Star Trek movie. And then when we get out of there, one of the teammates from another school named Aaron she was just so fascinated with the economy and how like there's no war, and like so she wanted to come up with like she literally wanted to come up with like the Star Trek rebuttal as a rebuttal in debate. I thought it was so funny. So we were all talking about crazy stuff
What,
that
like
fans to this
as far
day
as
still argue over.
a rebuttal against capitalism?
Yeah, or like because there's always they change the topics, and like remember I was telling you, you have to be able to argue for and against, whatever the topic is. And a lot of the times there would be like resolved communism, and communism in theory seems superior, but in practice is not blah 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 or something like
Well,
that.
yeah, communism requires you to be in a post-scarcity environment.
Yeah, and then or
Hence, it works in
capitalism
Star Trek.
breeds greed, blah blah blah. They'll have so she but I don't think she ever actually did it, but it was a fun conversation that a bunch of debate nerds were having after watching a Star Trek movie together. And
so
yeah.
Why is it that, the Borg are into lighting up people's crotches? Never noticed that before.
I never noticed that until you brought it up just now.
Yeah. Now you're never going to be able to unsee that when you watch this movie.
Right.
So you're welcome.
Thanks.
It's the Borg, maybe, because of the queen. She's a size queen.
Ah.
Yeah, see.
That's funny.
Now, I'm not going to
You probably have this because you're actually an old man, where I feel like an old man. Look at this. I got one for the morning, one for the afternoon, and one for bedtime. These are all the freaking medications I have to take.
Remind me to feel bad for you.
Yeah. Anyway.
So I know a lot of people got mad at this part of this shot.
It's a good question, Ariel.
And Ariel, I'm not staring at people's crotches, but that's the only part that was lit up on everybody. It's like if you shine a spotlight in everybody's crotch, it's like, okay, why are you shining a spotlight in everybody's crotch?
Ariel, that just goes back to that theory from Star Trek Legacy the video game, that I kind of like,
Right. So so I do not believe this is what the interior of a Borg ship looks like.
Okay.
Instead, I think what we're looking at is Picard's dream, which we are. We know this is a dream. And but the thing is that
I don't know if he wants me to say this, so I'll just say somebody just private messaged me on Twitter. Don't even try to debate the salty one on this movie. He hates it.
Well, whatever.
It's just funny. He should have publicly tweeted it.
Then we wouldn't be very good at having nerd fights.
Exactly.
Fight,
Yeah.
So, but no. What I'm saying here though is that A, it's Picard's dream, and B, it can't be the interior of a Borg ship because Borg cubes are all cubical.
Mm-hmm.
And so this would make no sense as to be what it looks like inside a cube. Just saying.
Unless center of a cube, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it's not really.
No, the center of a cube is not a circle.
No, you're right. I'm agreeing. Never mind.
And I remember, here's our trailer shot right here. They used this in the trailer to make everybody think Locutus was coming back.
Yeah.
And,
Don't you love when trailers do stuff like that?
Oh, man, that made me so mad. And then
Ariel just made a good point. Maybe he was kicking it in a sphere inside of the cube.
But we already know the ship that he was in. It was a cube. And we saw the interior of that ship.
And yes, Stan, he was dreaming.
Yeah. And that's my point, is that, it's a dream. It's distorted. It's, it's not, obviously what...
it probably is.
It
just
doesn't
a distortion.
Have to be accurate.
It's just a distortion because it's a dream. And Alex with a super chat Super chat.
Thank you so much, Alex. You must have just gotten paid. Ironically, DS9 was realistic in showing how Ferengi capitalism would eventually undermine communist economy of Starfleet. Except that I would counter that with when Quark gives Cisco the "we're not like you, we're better" speech, I get chills. I love that speech, but I disagree with your statement as a whole because it didn't undermine the economy of Starfleet. I mean, Starfleet continued on just fine. Yeah. Or are you saying just undermine the writing of it because, they...
To answer one of your questions, Alex said he just sold his house and he was happy to share the love. So Alex...
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, and Alex, so in the chat, that's the link to my channel. And I'm hold up, listen. I'm sharing it because I'm only 21 subscribers away from 400. So if anybody here hasn't subscribed, help me out. 400 would be a nice milestone for my pitiful channel. Thank you. That's the only reason, Alex.
You just gotta go there.
That's the only reason I put that link there.
Pitiful channel, feel bad. Come over and subscribe. Maybe if you put more content up there.
I know, man. I know, and you're gonna hate. I'm working on a video right now that I've got to get finished today. Well, if not today, 100% by tomorrow. But you're not gonna like it because it's kind of wrestling related. Well, it's kind of so
you can put anything you want on your channel.
You might actually like it. Let me tell it to you. So it's kind of funny. So on Joe Cronin's show, he does this Saturday thing called a Monetize This, where he has a championship belt and people who are panelists have qualified to fight the champion, and the champion's determined by people make donations, and with the donation they vote for who they want to win the match, and we all just basically cut promos and talk shit to each other while people are sending in money, and by the end of the show, whoever raised Joe the most money or earned Joe the most money, whatever it is, wins the title. And I'm in this match, so I've cut this old school kind of wrestling promo where I'm in a suit and I've got this the AA book, because we're going to kind of blur the lines between fiction and reality. And now I'm going to do what they call a heel turn, because now that I'm sober and have found God, I'm going to be this holier than thou guy who thinks he's better than everybody else. And, a stretch. It's nothing like me in real life. And just get people to hate me, just because I've kind of been losing a lot of the crowd, because they are a bunch of drunk degenerates who've been giving me crap for getting sober. So we figured we'd lean into it and make it kind of fun.
And then the winner, get to the part where you're going to not be like you.
Ow. Oh, okay. I don't think I'm better than anybody. In fact, I'm pretty down on myself most of the time, but thank you. If that sounded like an accurate description of me, I'll take that as a compliment. I'll choose to take that as a compliment. So thank you.
And then we get the drill bit to the eyeball shot, because why not?
Just to do the quick cringy thing, and then he immediately wakes up, but not really.
Yeah, which is such a cheap move.
Damn, Alex didn't get my hint. That's fine. Super chat.
First time in my life, I don't have to worry or work or penny pinch. Must be the American dream. I feel blessed. Hope you, Salty, can feel that way too someday. Well, I appreciate that, Alex. And
oh, nice.
The problem is that I'll probably have to penny pinch till I'm in my grave, just because Social Security doesn't believe that having a decent income is a requirement.
Right. I won't even get Social Security if I live that long.
Well, that's because you've never worked.
I know.
Well, that's why.
Yeah. Well, knock on wood. Hopefully, this job coming up, this good paying job coming up on the 15th, I'll keep it for a very long time, and maybe I'll get...
you would have to... You better keep it for a very long... If you want to see any Social Security. Of course, that's...
Yeah, but don't you got to be 65 or 67? What is it now? It's like they keep raising the age.
I don't know what the current retirement age is.
Yeah, they keep raising it. Oops, we both did that at the same time.
No, I haven't touched it.
Oh, well, I must have double-clicked it. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's the spirits of Jason is with us.
But yeah, the Social Security, and the problem is that even if you become disabled, Social Security disability is based on the time you've worked. Like the Social Security disability that I collect now is based on my work history. Now, fortunately, I've worked nonstop since I was like, as far as above board since I was 16.
So my son's never worked, and his SSDI is like roughly nine. It's not quite 950, but it's a roughly 950 a month.
He's not getting SS. I get him confused. There's SSI and SSDI.
Oh, I think he's getting SSI. You're right.
I believe I get SSDI. He gets SSI.
Okay.
And which is and so SSI is a benefit you can get if you're disabled, and the amount of money that you get from Social Security is directly linked to your assets. And so if you have a bunch of money in the bank, you ain't getting nothing.
Right.
If you have more than one car, you ain't getting nothing. That kind of thing.
Yeah, I technically don't own the car. I don't own squat, and he's a minor. So I feel like he should be getting more than the 9. It's just shy of 950. But
no,
whatever.
but you're well, depending on because is he paying you rent?
No, we didn't do any of that kind of stuff. We just,
but
he's going to be.
Things.
It's probably going to change because he turns.
And
18
actually, if he's getting like 950, that's probably near the maximum benefit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So
because Social Security thinks you can live on that.
Yeah, they do. It's crazy. Anyway,
and the reason but at the same time, if he's disabled and has no assets, then he can also qualify for things like Section 8 housing and food stamps.
There is a 20-year wait list in Las Vegas for Section 8.
I'm just explaining it. I know the reality of it.
Okay, I'm just saying, when they told me that.
This is their justification.
The lady literally asked me, would you like to be put on the waiting list? And I said, if I need Section 8 housing in 20 years, I'm going to jump off a bridge. No, I don't need to be put on the waiting list.
You should be. If you qualify for it, you should be on that waiting list.
It's 20 years long.
You know what? That's what but guess what? They say it's 20 years, but then an opening comes up, and guess what? It happens to match you, but you didn't sign up.
Oh, well.
Well, then you're being stupid. If you qualify for it and you know about it and you don't apply for it, that is stupidity. I'm sorry.
I don't know. I didn't see the need because of 20-year waiting list. So, but
who told you it's a 20-year waiting list? Because
the lady at the social services office.
Well, she lied to you.
I don't know, man. I've heard other people say.
You know what? There is no such thing as a 20-year waiting list. Like, you're not going to qualify. You're not going to get anything because guess what? First of all, low-income housing is being built everywhere.
Not here in Vegas, man. All the new construction is fancy.
I guarantee you that in Vegas right now, there's at least one low-income housing project being built because developers are required to build them.
Well, we need more of them in Vegas anyway. We got we got a lot more homeless. I lived here 14 years. We didn't have that many homeless people when I first moved here. Now we're starting to look like San Diego. It's crazy.
Right, but the problem is that so you don't sign up, and then what happens when the next project is completed? Oh, well, we were going to call you, but you didn't sign up. It's a 20-year waiting list based on if nobody that's currently living in housing dies or gets a good job.
Ooh,
and
I didn't want to say it, Chief Cook, but Chief Cook said it.
You forgot he's white? What is
it's? He's trying to be like a reverse racism thing because he's black. Yeah,
and honestly, no, it's not a black-white thing. It really isn't. That's not how it works.
Stan, where are you at? And yeah, man, you can't go to Sunset Park anymore. Really, it's kind of like that there. But do you know where Stan Lee lives?
Well, I don't know where Stan Lee is, but homelessness is a problem nationwide, and that's because housing prices have gone out of control.
I didn't think Canadian Stan had a homeless. I thought it was a perfect socialist utopia. Wow, that's interesting. I
Well,
thought they
but
took care of their sick and
Canada
their
has some of
old.
the same. Actually, with Canada, housing is even more jacked up than it is here. After I learned how the mortgages work up there, it's just a joke.
Yeah.
But the problem is that so like right now in Murfreesboro, we drove by an area where it says, "Oh, new homes being built." Right, prices start in the 590s.
Oh my God.
I'm like, do you really think that people who live in Tennessee are making that kind of bank if they're not a country music star in Nashville? You know? And yeah, Jason's holding on to all the houses. And Alex with another super chat. Thank you so much, Alex. His daddy moved to Georgia, had a beach condo for 70K.
How do you have a beach condo in Georgia? It's not on the coast, but okay. And
well,
if you're referring to me, you put that super chat in the wrong. Oh, I can't take super chats anyway, so it's a joke.
Yeah,
don't get mad. Don't get mad.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, well, condos always go for less than houses, but I don't know what Georgia's, unless he means the country Georgia as opposed to
right, dude.
As opposed to the state. I don't know what
Ben's correcting me. He says Georgia has a coast. I didn't think it did, but I thought it was.
Yeah, Georgia has. Alabama has a coast.
Mm.
You know, but you think of the South, you just think hot and humid. You don't think about beaches. But yes, bitches have beaches, y'all.
Hold up. Am I really that bad at geography? Yeah, I am bad at geography. Yeah, it's south to south. Okay, yeah, it's above Florida. Yeah, it's got a coast. My bad.
But you're also assuming that I mean, because
I thought it was to the left of the Carolinas, not below the. I mean, it's both. It's to.
I mean, obviously, I'm assuming that he didn't live anywhere near Savannah because housing would probably be really expensive there. I don't know what city in Georgia he's talking about, but
yeah, it's got a small little sliver on the far east coast of Georgia. So, like my because I lived in North Carolina, the part of Georgia that borders with North Carolina was further west. So, it's, but yeah, that was you're right. I stand corrected. I'm stupid. It's all those brain cells I killed all them years of drinking. My bad.
Let's see. And Alex says Savannah. Okay, so let's
another super chat. Georgia is on the coast, has islands. Yes, I looked it up on a map. I gotta do my re-education now.
So I'm seeing cheap homes, a 1 bedroom or 2 bedroom, 1 bath, 900 square foot house that looks like it's about ready to fall over, $135,000.
Well, hell, you can't buy a shack in Vegas for that. I mean,
here you go. I found an $80,000 house for you. It's a 2 bedroom, 1 bath, 1,200 square feet. You ready for it?
Uh-huh.
All right, let me bring it up here for you. And this is in the Savannah, Georgia area.
A shack for $80,000. Yeah. That would probably go for about $250,000 here in Vegas.
Well, depending on where in Vegas it was.
And Mom says we need to get back on track. Well, and Ariel, this is my bedhead. I was taking a nap and I woke up like 5 minutes before we went live and didn't have time to. And my hat's in the car. I didn't feel like running out to get it. So, And let's be real, it's kind of funny, So something about Mary look that Michael likes to rag on.
Hey, you said it, not me. I'm not. And Ariel says, but then you have to deal with those hurricanes that happen on the East Coast.
Oh yeah, I do not miss that. Living in North Carolina, those hurricanes, man, that shit's real. It's and I lived in the Midlands of the Piedmont area, and it was still an issue. The hurricanes. So
yeah, we don't get hurricanes here, so I can't speak to that. We do get occasional tornado warnings, but they're rare. Yeah. Anyway, back to Star Trek: The Picard's a Dick edition.
Yes.
So look, it's a dream in a dream. We're shocked. And then the Admiral says, oh, we just heard from Deep Space Five, and Picard forgets that he's not Professor X and reads his mind and says, "Yes, I know the Borg." Um, because yeah, I seriously think that Ronald D. Moore thought for a minute he was writing an X-Men episode or something. Because why did Picard know it was the Borg? Why does Picard hear the Borg? How does any of that make sense? And before anybody says, "Well, there's stray stuff in his blood," then Dr. Crusher is the most incompetent doctor in Starfleet history, because she's been examining him for what, 6 years since his assimilation, and they didn't detect a thing.
Well, she probably just skirted on her good looks and, isn't really that
And
good
why
a doctor.
didn't he hear the Borg in the other encounters he's had with the Borg since Best of Both Worlds?
Or maybe the land. Maybe it's good. Maybe the land is where most of the value is, because that's plot of land out here in Vegas is insane, and then there's lots of just empty plots of dirt and rock that
And
go for
Malfeas, the problem is that real estate prices have
$250,000.
exploded. And that's what I was about to say here in Tennessee. So like with the $590,000 new homes, I'm sure they're nice houses, but come on, a working person can't afford that. And so eventually the housing market, basically almost nationwide, the housing market needs to take a complete dump. And when it does, people are going to be mad, because people are going to be upside down in mortgages.
Well, I mean, it happened to me in 2008. That was the first crushing blow in my adult life.
And that one wasn't even that bad.
Sucked for me. I lost my house.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, like, if you think about it, how much did real estate drop during the 2008 crash?
I don't. Well, my house lost personally overnight. My house lost $60,000 of value overnight. Just
out of how much?
How much was I don't even remember how much my house was.
I mean, 60,000 is a ton. If that means that
I had 30,000
afterwards.
No, we were in the middle of trying to refinance it to avoid the rate increase from the adjustable rate mortgage, because I did a stated income loan, because I've always been self-employed, and we went from having $30,000 of equity to being $30,000 upside down, and we couldn't get it refinanced, and that led to it was terrible. But off the top of my head, I don't remember. I don't remember. It's this was a long time ago. I bought the house in 2005.
But you see, that's because honestly, the way that it works is that you should be able to the price of your mortgage should be, I believe it's something like 3 times your annual income. All right, so that means
I don't remember. It was like, I want to say, I want to say it was somewhere in the 140, 150K range, because this was back in 2005.
But think about that. For a $600,000 home, that means you need to be earning $200K. That puts you in the upper echelon of income earners. So it just doesn't work.
Hey, Alex subscribed to my channel. Thank you, Alex. And yeah, I appreciate the subscription. Keep it, but I can't accept super chats. But they're, if you want to support, there's links in the description.
So right here, we do get our first look at the new Enterprise, and I'm the first to admit, hey, it's one heck of an improvement over the Enterprise D.
Yeah, and I'm all like, I like this shot, and then you're like, nah, you poo-pooing on the nebula in the background.
Oh, sorry, it's just overdone at this point. But the problem is that except for in the opening battle, we never get to see the ship do anything. Which sucks, because it's such a nice looking ship. All right, so then we start getting into some of the weirdness here. Like, Geordi has bionic eyes for reasons. There's no explanation given to that. Last we saw him, he had his old eyes back. And if he just went blind again because they left, or no, actually he didn't even that. So last time was Generation, so he still had his visor. So he just has bionic eyes now, even though he denied it wasn't. I'm trying to remember. Did they say they could put in fake eyeballs in him when they first introduced him in Encounter at Farpoint? I know they said they could do corrective surgery.
Yeah, I don't
You know,
remember. I haven't watched season 1 of TNG in a long
yeah.
time.
At least they're all wearing the same uniform this time.
And yes, this time.
um, so, and this is where Picard gives his speech about how the Enterprise is not going to intercept the Borg with the rest of the fleet. They are going to patrol the neutral zone. To which everybody says, "What? That's crazy."
It's
And
funny because you actually say, no, it does make sense because it's the perfect time for the Romulans to,
yeah, you would want to put a strong ship on the neutral zone in case the Romulans try to pull something. Because you say, like Data even says, well, I find it highly unlikely that the Romulans would choose a time like this to attack. This is the perfect time to attack. Why wouldn't the Romulans attack now? I mean, if they were going to attack, this would be the time to do it. And then then we go to Picard in his ready room talking to Riker. And this is where Picard explains to Riker that the real reason they're not going is because Starfleet has plenty of faith in the Enterprise and her crew, but not the captain. And I said, and they're right.
Whereas I quoted Riker before he actually says it in the movie.
Yeah, the Riker says, "Oh no, because of your experience, you're the perfect person to be there, with your expertise." But the rest of this movie proves that Starfleet was right because Picard becomes completely unhinged. So he shouldn't have been there. He is obviously. I mean, maybe and this is the problem is that because it's so inconsistent with Picard we've known. The reason that you're thinking, and hey, community man, how you doing? The reason that you're thinking, just like Riker states, that Picard is the perfect person to be there.
Super chat.
And Darth Locutus with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much. As Pulaski said, it could be done in early season 2. Okay. I always figured he went through after one too many times. Someone turned him down to turn him into a spy camera. Yeah. But that could be. But they should have had at least one line of dialogue about it.
Yeah. And Ariel, that's funny because we were talking about that in the watch along that basically Picard should have been reduced to like Gene Roddenberry's role of executive consultant and Riker be temporary captain, get a field commission.
Yeah, because Riker's actually the one that beat the Borg, not Picard.
Yeah.
And so
we all remember that cliffhanger. Fire.
Yeah. But Riker actually beat the Borg in combat when they rescued Picard. Remember that?
Yeah. And Trek reviewer is a little late. I guess that's because he's in your chat, Ariel's in mine. But he says, "Why not have Riker take?" We both agreed on that.
Yeah, but but I think the reason that both you and Riker were so adamant that Picard would be the perfect person is you're thinking of Picard from the series.
Yeah,
you're thinking of cool, collective, calm Picard who would never lose it. He would never say no and break his little ships, because that's not Picard. That's Jake Picard. To coin a phrase.
Jake Picard. Oh, Jake Skywalker.
Because Jake Skywalker, yeah. And by the way, hopefully, if you're still watching Future Man, we're at 79% of the upload. Man, this is taking forever.
And you were bragging to me the other day about how fast your upload is.
It's EV Mux because we're transmitting and EV Mux is trying to upload and process the video at the same time. It's not my internet speed that's bottleneck. And Planet X, thank you, says Shelby beat the Borg. Shelby helped. Riker was in command.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny, Ben One Eye. You mean John Luck Pickard?
Yeah, John Luck Pickard. Yes, indeed. Who's next door neighbors with Tony Stank from the MCU.
Yes.
But yes, John Luck Pickard that's who this is. I don't know. It's something. It's not Picard. Pickard. Mm. So, and right here, okay, so Troy, this is like the only time Troy's empathic abilities are even implied in the entire movie, is that she detects that Picard can hear the Borg.
This is like
Or no, this is before that. This is when they hear it over the comms that the Borg are fighting, and we hear Kelsey Grammer.
This is a good pause, though. She actually looks attractive.
She looks horrible. She looks like she's
no. She looks horrible. No, when they're down on the planet and she's drinking tequila.
I'll put it on a better picture.
She looked horrible. I even pointed it out during our watch long. But you moved it. But that pause a second ago, she looked healthier in that shot. That's all I was getting at. Because she looks very her cheeks
emaciated.
That's the word, emaciated. Yes, and that bar scene.
But so this is where you if you listen carefully, you can hear Kelsey Grammer in an uncredited cameo.
And it's true. He pointed it out to me, and I was like, "Oh, that was."
Yes, Alec. Issue with movie was Trek for the average. Issue with movie was Trek for the average audience.
Super Chad. He's saying the issue was this was made for a mainstream audience, not for the Star Trek audience. And
gotcha. And thank you for the super chat, Alex. 100%. I appreciate it. And I think you're right that they were trying. Well, okay. The funny thing is, I saw an interview with Jonathan Frakes, and the problem was it's Jonathan Frakes and Patrick Stewart wanted to make Star Trek into an action franchise. And honestly, that's not what Trek is. Not in the way that Star Wars is an action franchise. Like in Star Wars, the motivating you go to see Star Wars because cool laser sword fights, cool space wizards, cool spaceship battles, cool this, cool that, cool that. You go to Star Trek for a story and characters. And if you try to sell your intellectual thinking man like Picard as John McClane, you've broken it. You don't understand and I don't care what Patrick Stewart doesn't understand the character that he himself is playing, which is pretty bad.
And he would double down on that for Picard seasons 1 and 2, by the way.
And 3.
No, 3 was it was a good return to true
3
form.
was crap. Anyway, God, so the
and thank you, Ariel.
What?
I sneezed and you didn't say God bless you.
You know what? You are the size of a postage stamp on my monitor because all I can see is the movie mainly.
Oh, okay.
So because I'm trying to control the movie. So I'm sorry. I did not know that you sneezed. You must have muted yourself.
Stan, I don't even have a membership. You got to remember, I'm unemployed. I start work on the 15th. I don't even get my first paycheck until May 3rd. So I need to do some more digital panhandling. I need to get I need donations from you fine folks.
But if you're getting frustrated with how slowly the Last Jedi review is coming out, well, if you're a member to the channel, you can watch the whole thing. FYI.
You seem I get notifications almost daily. It seems like you've been posting a lot.
Yeah, I have them set to, and this is a feature in YouTube, so you can make something for members only, but then schedule it to go public.
Oh, cool.
So the entire review is 30 parts long. So one episode of it goes public every day for a month, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Then I have to come up with something else before that happens.
Yeah, no, Anthony, I agree. It was really good. He's just, he's salty, hence the name.
Well, if it wasn't that it's a rehash of 1 and 2, but it's with a whole lot of members.
And Vanquish AZ, I completely agree. It's I completely agree. Oh, and this is the John Makita I was talking about on the Twitter. Yes.
Okay.
This was,
but Vanquish, here's the problem with that. And I understand what you're saying. And again, it's not that Patrick Stewart doesn't bring his A game. And it's not that it wasn't a very humanizing moment, but it wasn't a Picard moment. That's the problem. That character going Batwoman crazy and smashing his display case is not Jean-Luc Picard. That is the opposite of Jean-Luc Picard. Picard doesn't fly off the handle unless he's being mind controlled or something. You know, even in Chain of Command, where he was broken by that Cardassian, he held on to his dignity.
That's funny.
Mm-hmm.
No,
that's an image I don't need. Thank you, Joseph. By the way, we're 93%, so your payoff is coming momentarily. All right, so then we get the Enterprise going into warp for the first time, and I have to say, this is right here. I like that warp effect.
Oh, it's the same one they used in the series on D.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is. They stretch out the nacelles like that.
No, because on the D in the series, the back half of the ship stays still for a second while the front half of the ship goes forward. In this, the ship smoothly glides into the warp.
Oh, okay. It still stretches out the nacelles.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's still the whole ship stretches, but I'm fine with it. But I think it looks a lot better here than it did in the show.
Yeah, well, it should. A lot more money.
All right. So then we get the Battle of Sector 001.
Stanley, while your Picard story ended with all good things, I kind of like Salty's.
Picard's story ended in Generations.
In the Nexus, yeah. He's still in the Nexus.
Yeah, Picard never got out of the Nexus. By the way, neither did Kirk. You know, the Nexus is the end of TNG. The Enterprise D, and everyone aboard was killed on Veridian 3. Yeah. So that's my headcanon. I'm sticking with it because everything after Veridian 3 is completely out of character for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So, including Kirk, by the way. Why would Kirk be fantasizing about being in a log cabin?
I know. That was just.
And Alex with another super chat says exactly. Captain Picard was more of a diplomat than a military commander of the show, as a contrast with Kirk's cowboy style. How Federation, the Federation had evolved. Well, and it's the fat and lazy syndrome that people say about TNG, and it's a good thing, even though it sounds derogatory. But if you look at Star Trek VI, the Federation finally achieves peace with their most hated enemies, the Klingons. So now, fast forward almost 80 years, and because of 80 years of peace, the Federation is no longer thinking about, being a military organization, and instead they're using their flagship on diplomatic errands.
Yeah. So, oh my God, this is how my crying is a known thing throughout our community. Yes. Blaine from Criticless.
Did he say you cried?
Even better. Apparently, they brought me up on their podcast Unhinged episode. He said, so he left a comment on my Ghostbusters Afterlife review because I wanted to have that up before we do our review tomorrow of Frozen Kingdom. And he said, great review, buddy. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I know you shed a tear or two in this with the laughing emoji face. You and your crying from nostalgia actually came up in our recent Unhinged review for this movie. Ha ha.
Well, there you go. So now you're going to have to watch that.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
All right. So question for you.
Mm-hmm.
What's wrong with that shot?
What is the dog barking? I don't know what's wrong with that shot.
Why are photon torpedoes, not quantum torpedoes, mind you, photon torpedoes, why are they damaging the ship?
Is it damaging the ship, or is it just exploding on
Yeah, it leaves
impact,
a
making a
hole.
bright
Look,
light? It leaves a hole. Okay.
there's already. Let's see if we hopefully won't get a hit with a. I do love this shot. Don't get me wrong; it's gorgeous looking.
I want to pause it. That's kind of.
Okay, so right here you see the bottom of the Borg cube is pretty much undamaged.
Yes.
Okay. Now it has 3 holes in it.
Oh, okay. You got better vision than me.
When photon torpedoes, as established all the way back to Q-Who, do nothing to the Borg. And in Best of Both Worlds, they did nothing to the Borg. And people I know say, well, but the battle's been going on for a while. Yeah, but apparently, at least from what we see in the battle, I could be wrong, but the only ship in the battle with any kind of advanced weaponry is the Defiant.
Little.
All right, so now here's something that I promised just for you, Joseph. Oh, wait, you guys can't. Okay.
Yeah, we can see it.
There you go.
And
You're
Vanquish,
welcome.
I agree with you disagreeing with Salty. I agree with your point here. So
everybody is broken at some point when we see the Picard. We see that in Picard. Okay, if this were the first time that Picard had to come face to face with the Borg since his assimilation, I might buy that. But this is the 3rd time Picard has come face to face with the Borg since his assimilation. And we already had, so we not only would this Picard too over the top for being Jean-Luc Picard, but he already dealt with his hatred of the Borg, specifically in I, Borg. That's what that episode was all about. And so you're just basically telling the same story as I, Borg. It's just that you have a Borg invasion instead of a loner Borg in it. So, and I, Borg, quite frankly, while I think I, Borg did a disservice to the Borg as a whole, not as badly as this movie, but it's what
you. But anyway, go ahead.
What you? So you think I, Borg was good for the Borg?
No. The comment you made about this movie,
What? It's not. Well, this I, Borg didn't bring in a Borg queen to turn the Borg into a bunch of mindless zombies.
This is true.
All right. So I and this movie does, but I, Borg does try to humanize the Borg, which is the exact opposite of what you should do with the Borg.
Yeah, and that's the one with Hugh, right?
Right. That's where we're introduced to Hugh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know you gave me a little homework. You wanted me to watch iBorg, Family and iBorg, Q-Who, and Best of Both Worlds. I just didn't have time to this week, so I didn't rewatch them. Sorry. Well, just today I had to take it anyway.
But so I don't think it makes Picard endearing. I think it makes him unstable. Because if Picard has been recovered from his PTSD for this long and then all of a sudden goes unhinged, he has no business being a starship captain. And here's your favorite part of the whole movie.
Report! Main power's offline. We've lost shields.
Dun, 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 dun.
So what I was saying is that Ensign Nobody there that was giving the status report to Worf should have been Dax. But the first thing we see should have been actually a big explosion knocking Cisco unconscious. And then Worf taking command. And then Dax gives that report, and we continue the scene pretty much as it is.
Oh, super chat.
And Alex, okay, saying that Picard could have been burying his PTSD for years. Sure. But he dealt with it. That's the problem. He was burying, you could say he was burying his PTSD from the time of Best of Both Worlds to the time of I, Borg. But then he dealt with it. You're not going to convince me that Picard, and the problem is, and don't get me wrong, people will argue how trying to be realistic about how PTSD works, and that, but in reality, look, I understand PTSD intimately well. I really do, better than I care to admit. And so I do understand, realistically, could Picard be suffering from PTSD? Sure. But I don't go to movies for a realistic psychological profile on the strain of being in command and dealing with, horrific situations. Picard is a hero character. And what you're doing here is corrupting that character. This is the opposite of everything that Picard, the character, has stood for a decade at this point. Go ahead. You were going to say something. All right,
No.
If you're talking, I can't hear you.
No, I wasn't going to say anything.
Oh, okay.
Just here, what's this? Another, it's not a super chat.
I'd say sometimes remember my anger towards those who let me down for us in the military. Yeah, but you're not a character in a movie. And I guess people, look, we get so wrapped up in show. Look, and believe me, I know I'm a hardcore Star Trek fan. I have been since before most of you guys were born. And
yeah, we get it. You're old.
Well, no, I'm just trying to establish my credentials here for a second.
I know. You're bona fides.
So I get that, but we need to stop thinking that these are real people. These are characters. All right. And the way that you write a character is different than how people are in real life. It's like part of the reason that people were so pissed off about The Last Jedi is because they're saying, well, that's not Luke Skywalker. Realistically, that's probably what would happen to Luke Skywalker.
You keep that rant up. I got to check on something. I'll be right back.
All right. And so as much as we hate The Last Jedi, as much as we hate all these movies where they say, oh, they just ruined these characters from my childhood or whatever. No, you know what? But you can make the argument that they're being totally realistic, that they are actually, no, there's nothing about if you had this horrific experience with your nephew, you thought he was going to turn to the dark side, and so you thought the only way to correct it would be to take him out, and then you changed your mind, but he, woke up at the last second, and you were like, oh, crap, and so then he went and became a hermit because he figured, I can't deal with this. I can't do it. That's totally realistic. It's not good, but it's realistic. And and I say the same thing when with the arguments that people make about this movie is that, sure, you can make the argument that it's realistic that Picard had PTSD, that Picard was was traumatized so deeply by being part of the Borg and all that. But that doesn't make it good. And Black Knight Leader with a $1 donation says, hey, it's me, Lancer. Chat. I'm sorry for not posting the sources yet. I mentioned in your church stream. I love Trek 7. In my opinion, 10 would I love Trek 7. In my humble opinion, 10 would be the worst.
So he liked
this is 8.
Generations?
He
This
liked
is 8.
Generations, and he thinks the worst is Nemesis.
Well, I mean, Nemesis is down there, but it ain't the worst. Generations, ironically, is the worst, in my opinion.
You know, Generations is pretty stanky.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. But you know what? A lot of my problems with Generations is the same as my problems here, just for different characters. I didn't like what they did to James T. Kirk in Generations, but they do the same thing to Picard in this. It's just that, okay, they don't make him a whiny little, hermit like they did to Luke. Instead, they turn him into a post-traumatic stress disordered John McClane, which, whatever. And so if you're going to write it, I do think we need hero characters, and I think hero characters should be heroic. I know that sounds like either some people are going, well, duh, and other people are saying, why? And it's like, hey, I'm sorry. If I want the depressive, the nature of humanity and real life, I can go outside and take a walk and see that. I don't need to pay money to watch that. I want to be entertained by my entertainment. Maybe I'm just crazy. All right, so we don't want to be looking at her. All right, so here's another fun little thing is that so the Enterprise goes into battle without the view screen on, which I gotta like that. And I felt that most of the stuff in 10 was put into one. Was to put up things in the more popular Trek movies. The Scimitar is a bigger, badder version of the sixth bird of prey. I think that 10, you see, the thing about Nemesis, which we will get to in a couple of weeks, don't you worry. But the thing about Nemesis was that it was made by someone who unlike before, he not only didn't know Trek, he didn't want to know Trek. And so the guy that made Nemesis, he didn't give a crap about Star Trek. He was just making a movie, and he thought he was making a pretty darn good movie. And I do think Nemesis is one of the more cinematic entries to the list. But it's, again, in isolation, Nemesis is a good film, but it's not in isolation. And okay, so you took that down before I could respond to it. But
sorry, there you go.
But for a movie, it hits all the beats of Picard's struggle. Okay, tell me, before this movie, what were the beats of Picard's? Where was Picard's struggle prior to this movie that needed to be resolved? Because you know what? In Star Trek 2, Khan was a looming threat out there, and Picard was dealing with the inevitability of age. In Star Trek 6...
You mean Kirk. You mean Kirk.
Oh, yeah, sorry. In Star Trek 6, Kirk was dealing with his own prejudice against Klingons, which, by the way, most of us that grew up on the original series shared with him. So those were real. This is just pulled out of the blue because before this, Picard didn't have a struggle with the Borg, except for when they showed up in I, Borg and he resolved it. But it wasn't even a problem for him when he saw the Borg in Descent. And Lancer says, I knew you would be your review, Ted, just not sure I would be around to see the stream. Okay, gotcha. No, I appreciate you getting your 2 cents in there. All right. So right here, look at this.
Power grid on screen.
That is what they're looking at.
It's weird.
Can somebody explain this to me? It doesn't even look like a view screen. It just looks like a wall.
Yeah. It's weird.
And then all of a sudden, it just becomes the view screen.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that makes sense. Oh, look at that.
Is that the NX-01?
Huh?
In front
You
of Hawk.
always say that.
It's what it looks like.
It doesn't look anything like the NX-01.
Kind of does.
It's similar in that it has a saucer and two nacelles without a secondary hull, but the nacelles are pointing down.
Unless the ship's upside down.
It's not. It's an Akira class.
Oh, yeah. You're right. I do always make that.
Yeah, you always confuse the Akira with the NX-01.
Yeah.
Why, I don't know. But I'm not sure what it is, but if you look in the center of the view screen towards the bottom, doesn't that look like a Nabooan starfighter?
It does. Yeah. Yeah. I see that.
Okay. It looks like it might be a steam runner. It was just the angle that's a steam runner.
Okay. Yeah, there it is.
But yeah, from a distance, it definitely looked like a Nabooan ship.
Yeah.
And I think is this
Lancer says there's the Millennium Falcon. Where?
Oh, you don't see the Millennium Falcon? It's okay. Do you see the steam runner right at Data's head?
Yeah.
Look in the distance beyond it.
That's that little speck there.
Millennium. Yeah,
you're supposed to be able to tell that.
Yeah. Well, that's the point. Is if they made it blatant.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, right here, Picard starts to. So you can hear the collective. Why? It makes no sense. And so, yeah. So then Picard, then what does Picard do? After hearing the voice of the collective, immediately takes command of the fleet. Now, I'm sorry, shouldn't that be exactly the kind of red flag that should have Troy saying, Commander Riker, you need to take command of the ship, like now?
Well, no, because Troy would be able to tell Picard's true intentions through her.
No, she can only get general feelings. She can't tell. She's not a telepath like her mom.
Mm-hmm.
And now Chief Cook is trying to say it is the NX-01. It is not the NX-01. The NX-01 was not at this fight. But then magically, because this Borg ship is nothing like any other Borg ship ever, just firing all your phasers at one spot makes it blow up.
Damn, Ariel. She's calling Picard stupid.
Picard stupidly targeting non-vital sections of the Borg and lets the sphere get away. Yes, exactly. See? Ariel's with it. Which, of course, that sphere thing was like, oh, that's new. But, this is the first time we ever see a Borg sphere, I believe, isn't it?
Yeah, I do believe so, yes.
Yeah. So then Worf comes onto the ship and is grumpy. The Enterprise follows the sphere back in time because they notice that, and actually, I got to say, cool effect shot. Look at the United States at what the assimilated version of the United States looks like.
Yeah.
That's creepy looking.
Yeah.
And Alex with another $5 super chat. Thank you so much, buddy.
Wow. Man, spread the love around. Yeah, I got.
Hey.
I'm just
this
kidding.
Is paying my electric bill, buddy. Shut up.
I know how you get.
In your last Jedi video, do you answer why you think Disney allowed Rian Johnson to radically change Star Wars after being ultra careful in Force Awakens? Well, first of all, it had nothing to do with Disney. It had to do with Lucasfilm. I get really tired of people saying, like, Disney is not a micromanaging company. Contrary to popular belief, they're really not. They buy up these IPs and they let and Kathleen Kennedy was already taking over Lucasfilm at the time, and so, but what do you mean? Do I answer? So no, Disney didn't allow anything. Here's the thing about the way that it worked: The Force Awakens comes out and made $2+ billion. And so what does Disney say? Awesome. Great job, Kathleen Kennedy. Can't wait for the next one.
Wow, little did they know.
Yeah, they had no idea what was being made. And I'm sorry, I'm going to go on a small tangent here for a second. If you are watching a YouTube channel that is sitting there feeding you BS about how there's these civil wars inside of Disney between Kathleen Kennedy and whoever, listen, they don't have sources. They're making crap up. They get this stuff off of Fantasyland on Reddit, okay? And that's actually been confirmed at points, because at one point people planted a fake story on Reddit, and the fandom then started running off of this as if it were true. And the problem is that we are just we want that, we want there to be a conspiracy, because then it would make sense to us, But it's not a grand conspiracy. It's incompetence. And I think Lore Reloaded is the one that quoted it to me for the first time, is like, never blame malevolence when incompetence works. Do you really think Picard was over what happened to him, especially, again, Vanquish? You're missing the point. I'm not asking them to make an ultra-realistic version of Picard, because an realistic Picard would have been in a nursing home in the first season of Picard. Right? I don't want that. I don't want, I was hoping Picard would be a good show. Unfortunately, it wasn't. But even if you liked season 3, realistic season 3 Picard would be dead. So why wasn't Picard so angry with? Why isn't he angry with the Kardashians? The Cardassians did far more damage to him. He actually broke under torture. Remember, Locutus, while it was horrifying, it would be basically someone else was in control, and you can definitely rationalize to say, I know it wasn't my fault because I didn't have control. But that Cardassian broke him.
Yeah. No, he even admits it at the end
David
of the episode.
Warner for
he was
the win
about
on
to.
that. Yeah.
He was about to say. He said, "I would have said anything." He got to that point.
Yeah, and he said the worst thing was that he actually saw 5 lights.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the Enterprise goes back in time, and if there's anything you liked about the Battle of Sector 001, well, it's just a fading memory now, because no more. The action is officially over.
I got a question. Do you have an explanation or a theory for this? Ever since I quit drinking booze, I swear I pee like every 30 to 45 minutes now. Just like
probably because
nonstop.
You're more hydrated.
Oh, well, you can continue. I'll listen. I got to pee. I'll be right
booze
back. And I'll mute it this time so you guys don't.
Yeah, that would be a good thing.
Yeah.
You don't need to hear your stream during the stream. Yeah. Why did Kathleen Kennedy go from super careful to reckless in hiring Ryan Johnson and not supervising? What Kathleen Kennedy did was, since Danny's not here, so we'll talk about this for just a second. What Kathleen Kennedy did was she hired J.J. Abrams, and she wanted J.J. Abrams to do a trilogy, but J.J. Abrams refused. And so he did, The Force Awakens. And Ryan Johnson is a good director. I don't like to admit that, but he is. And if you look at The Last Jedi in total isolation, if you forget about all the rest of Star Wars, if you just look at The Last Jedi, it was wonderfully directed. It was gorgeous. It's a beautiful film and technically masterfully made. But Rian Johnson also, likes to subvert people's expectations, which normally Hollywood sees as a good thing. Because that means you're going to get something unexpected. And this is the problem, Alex. What Kathleen Kennedy thought she was doing was giving the fans exactly what they demanded. Because what was the big complaint coming from the fans after The Force Awakens? If you don't remember, it was, this is just a retread of the first Star Wars film. There's another Death Star. And then people started taking every plot point they could find to line up. There's a cute droid with super secret information that they put in the desert, blah, blah, blah. And so they try to make it sound like it's the exact same movie as the original Star Wars. Well, how do you get past that? You hire a guy that's going to make something that nobody sees coming. Well, he gave it to us. He subverted our expectations at every corner. And unfortunately, it pissed everybody off because they're like, wait, this isn't Luke Skywalker. Oh, and what's the big mystery behind Rey's parents? Oh, they're nobody. And what's up with Snoke? Oh, he's dead. No, but it doesn't matter. So they purposely undermined everything in order to in order to not be like the original trilogy. So then, as another desperation move, Kathleen Kennedy managed to get J.J. Abrams back. And Planet X, the problem is, I don't think Palpatine was the plan at the beginning. I think Snoke was going to be the big baddie in J.J. Abrams' head. But the problem is that J.J. Abrams refused to do a trilogy, which that was stupid. And Alex, with another super chat, says Star Wars was more like Lord of the Rings. You can't change directors in the middle of it. Dead wrong about that. Should have hired Ron Howard. The placeholder as Solo was okay. I think Solo was the most generic of movie in the entire Star Wars franchise. So I disagree with you on that. And as far as changing directors, have you not watched the original trilogy? Because newsflash, different directors. So, George Lucas directed Star Wars, but it was Irvin Kershner who directed Empire Strikes Back, and it was Richard Marquand who directed Return of the Jedi. You had 3 different directors of the original trilogy. The only trilogy in Star Wars that was all directed by the same guy was the prequels. They were all directed by George Lucas. And guess what? The only reason we think anything fondly about the prequels was because they're better than the sequels. That's it. And Randall says, somehow Danny returned. Well, not yet. Let's see. Planet X says, I remember I could almost hear my girlfriend sigh in the theater over the giant speakers when they brought Palpatine back. Well, again, you killed your big bad in the second one. What are you supposed to do? Well, I guess we can bring back Palpatine. Because the big problem that you were at was, Kylo wasn't going to make a satisfactory big bad because Rey had already beaten him. So you need him to have a boss that we can be afraid of. Palpatine was the logical go-to.
All right. Who said something about me? I could hear it while I was coming back. You said
Chief
Danny.
Cook said you have a bad prostate, and Randall said somehow Disney returned. I thought it said Danny returned.
Oh, okay. Okay, Disney returned.
Somehow Disney returned.
I don't know. Maybe I'll get the prostate check. But I've asked a couple people why I pee so much and so long, and everybody's kind of saying the same thing you said. Oh, you're just hydrating more because alcohol dehydrates you and blah blah blah. So okay, but I mean, I'd never. It's annoying, man. Like, the AA meetings, for example, are only an hour long, and every time I piss at least twice. I try to do it before and after, but sometimes I gotta,
As far as the writing, I want to get to that. So let's see. Empire Strikes Back story was written by George Lucas, Lee Brackett, and Lawrence Kasdan. By the way, the only one where Lucas had total writing control, again, was the first Star Wars and the prequels. And, which, sorry, not that great. Let's see. And the screenplay for Return of the Jedi was Lawrence Kasdan and Lucas. So, yeah. Now, and was Lucas wasn't supervising everything, Alex. He did do the story treatment, but he wasn't managing it. I mean, he just wasn't. He had a heart attack making the first film, and so that's why he stepped back. He didn't, at that point, he didn't even want to do the sequels because he thought it would kill him. And Planet X with a $2 super chat says even Jar Jar Sith would have been better than Palpatine. I disagree. Look, I get it that people were mad, but again, I think JJ did the best he could with what he had.
Is it still cool to poo-poo on Jar Jar?
Well, I mean, I don't think it's cool anymore, but people still do.
Yeah.
And so, and now you're fishing for donations. Is that what
Not
you're
at
doing?
all. I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, please don't.
It's a gag, man. Chill out. I can't even take super chats. Donate. Yeah. Boy, did that backfire. Oh well. Oh, his excitement over Rian Johnson. No, he ruined Star Wars, man. And I heard what you said about Solo. I actually enjoyed Solo, and I think had it not been for Last Jedi, Solo would have done a lot better, and we would have got that Solo trilogy. I do. I
absolutely do not, because I can remember the guy's name that played Solo, but he was so not Solo. The only character that personified any kind of nostalgia for me was the guy that played Lando, Glover. He was awesome as Lando until they, except that he was kind of weirdly attracted to his droid.
Oh, Alex, you're too sweet. I just like poking the bear that is salty by saying stuff like that. But, we could, it's always pay. Anyway.
Danny?
I didn't finish it.
We're going to end this stream if you keep this up.
Well, let's continue now that I'm back. You're still on the same old boozer at the campfire here. So,
well, because, okay, so now we were introduced to the bastardization of Zefram Cochrane.
Yeah, you were really during the, and I'm surprised nobody commented I fixed my hair after I peed. That's really what took so long.
Well, he peed on his hair.
During the watch along, you were like, "This is, you're referencing the Metamorphosis episode we just talked about recently, from the original series that has the de-aged Zefram Cochrane, and then we have this radically different drunken party guy, Zefram Cochrane, who doesn't even like to fly. He takes trains. He was dreaming of an island full of naked women and money.
Right.
Yeah, it's a totally different guy.
This is not the same character, and this is again, this is just kind of going with the whole theme of why I don't like this movie, is because if you're going to bring in a legacy character from the original series, at least make him somewhat like that character. Now, I know that the character Zephyr Cochrane in Metamorphosis was not the deepest character, but okay, I don't understand. People change. Are you saying that? Okay, look, yes, people change, but this guy is okay. He's a horn dog. He's a drunk. He's a party animal, and he goes from that to being a social conservative recluse.
Yeah, I mean, I know people change, but that's kind of a radical change. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
this would be like, yeah, if the guy, if Rush Limbaugh were still alive and he was a Biden supporter.
oh wow, Alex knows about the gilf fetish. Hey man, my ex just turned 50 like 2 days ago. So yeah, I guess I got a thing for the old women. What can I say? Although 50 is actually pretty young on my scale, so there's that.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, she may have been 50, but she had the body of a 70-year-old. That's Danny right there. So yeah, it's not just that he's not exactly the same; it's that he's the exact opposite. And yes, Planet X, I did the math. This Zephyr Cochrane should be somewhere in the neighborhood of like 33 years old, based on the year.
Bro's got some city miles on him. Wow.
Yeah. And so like what I was saying when we were talking is, okay, take away the rampant alcoholism and horn dogging.
Now, ABJ, what we're referencing is the Star Trek original series episode called Metamorphosis. Zephyr Cochrane is in that episode.
Yeah. And no, by the way, First Contact, the fact that he met Vulcans was never mentioned in Metamorphosis. What we know of Metamorphosis, by the way, they even change his backstory, because what we know in Metamorphosis is that he's from Alpha Centauri, not Earth, and that he was the discoverer of space warp.
Not the inventor of warp drive.
Right.
Discovery.
Yeah, he discovered the space warp.
They make him sound like Christopher Columbus. I just stumbled upon the new world kind of thing.
Right. So unfortunately, they change his backstory to where now, Earth doesn't even have space travel at this point. And he, he's complete. So
how did Khan and the rest of his merry men on the Botany Bay get launched out into space, decades before the events of this movie? You know what I mean? If Earth has no space travel.
Right. This is because supposedly that happened before World War III, though.
Yeah.
Or at least before the nukes fell.
96, 97, somewhere around when I graduated high school is when Khan left. Here's
the problem is that according to
I love how I referenced it like it's an actual historic event. That's
I know.
So funny.
Khan says in Star Trek II it was 1996 that they launched.
96, okay, yeah.
Yeah. The problem
senior year of high school.
Yeah, the problems that we run into are, in the episode Space Seed, they mentioned that this was during the last of your so-called world wars. And that's when we first hear...
That's a line from Spock, yeah.
Yeah, and then McCoy says the eugenics wars, right? So that's where we got that. However, this takes place in, 2063? I want to say, is that right?
My bad, dinner bells. My bad. I do believe this is
2063, isn't it?
I think it's 2063. I'll be a research. I'm a sorry replacement for Jason. But I'll look it up.
So, but just before that, Data says that we've arrived approximately 10 years after the World War III. So, World War III went from
April 5th, 2063. So yes, 2063.
Yeah, so 2063. So that means that World War III ended around 2053.
Oh, we're coming up on First Contact Day next week. Yeah. Right on. We'll be live that day. We should do something fun for that.
Well, we should have saved this review for that.
Yeah, we should have. Oh well, hindsight.
You know what we'll have to do is let's review Metamorphosis.
There you go. Yeah, since a lot of people don't know what's up. Yeah. Good,
So,
and we can, because I don't know if I'm. No, I'm kidding about Insurrection. We can do.
Of course, at this point, we're only going to get a quarter way through this movie anyway. But
maybe we can do a part 2 next week.
Yeah. So 2053 was the end of World War II, but World War II started around 1995, and Khan made its escape in 1996. So, wait, World War II was 60 years long, or World War III was 60 years long?
Yeah. We'll see. Old Man reacts. This is a big problem because if you actually take lines of dialogue, star dates used, captions from movies, lines of dialogue,
they're all over the place.
It's like, so at the very beginning of Wrath of Khan, what's the first thing we see text wise? In the 23rd century. However,
which, by the way, is the first time that Star Trek is dated to the 23rd century.
It is, but it's wrong. But they had to continue with it, and they call the next gen in the 24th century. But the math doesn't add up. They're like 100 years off. They're like, it's weird.
It should have been in the original series. Should have been in the 24th century, and next gen in the 25th.
I thought it was the other way. I thought it was the 22nd and the 23rd.
Well, the problem is that, but then if it was the 22nd, then remember McCoy, when I calculated the Zefram Cochrane in 2063 should be in his 30s, it was based on McCoy in saying that he disappeared like 200 years ago.
You're right. So it really is, to this day, folks. I'll bring his thing back up. Old Man reacts. To this day, it's still all over the place. They don't
the dates are just completely screwed.
Yeah.
The only logical explanation is sometime in between now and Star Trek time, the calendar gets reset.
Right. Yeah. They change it. They update the Gregorian calendar to the I don't know, the Terran calendar or something.
Yeah.
Because I always wondered, when we were watching Undiscovered Country, and they had those clocks everywhere, which you pointed out is very military. Is that Eastern Standard Time, Greenwich Mean Time? I mean, I always wondered, like, what's that mean? Like, what? So what's, you know what I mean? Like,
it would most likely be whatever time it is at Starfleet headquarters.
Okay, which is on the West Coast in America, so it's my time.
Well, actually, Starfleet headquarters, we find out that's Starfleet Academy.
Oh, okay.
And of course, the problem is there's contradicting information because you're right. It is San Francisco area. Yeah. It's the capital of the Federation is Paris, France.
Okay.
For whatever reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so here's my favorite thing in the whole movie is that we find out that the amazing destructive force of a Borg torpedo is that they can destroy some aluminum siding.
Now, isn't that bar there fully intact later when Troy's getting drunk with Zefram Cochrane?
Yes.
They rebuilt it that fast. Well, I guess it is just a shack.
And that's that's the highest priority part of the compound, apparently.
Yeah.
Certainly has higher priority than his ship.
Yeah.
But so that is the entire destructive force of a Borg torpedo. When the Borg could have nuked all of Montana with one shot, theoretically.
It should have been RIP Bar, but we see the Bar a lot later. In fact, at the very end, he's teaching the Vulcan how to dance.
And then, I think this is the shot where they destroy a bicycle with one of their torpedoes. I mean, they literally break a bike with one of their shots. It's just so laughable. So then the Enterprise fires quantum torpedoes. And it just obliterates the Borg.
Yeah.
They got there's a power scaling problem here.
Yeah.
I mean, is it just me or is everything way off? Because a single volley of quantum torpedoes should not have...
ABJ solved it. Starlight savings time.
We're moving a century to rebalance time. Okay, there you go.
I like that.
And so this is where they calculate the date, and they figure that, oh no, tomorrow's first contact. And yes, Stanley ILM did do the effects for this movie. So let me ask you this. Serious question. Why are the Borg here?
To assimilate Earth of the past.
So they're not here to stop first contact?
Oh yeah, that was the second part of the line. Yes.
Yeah. So, but wait. If they assimilate Earth from the past, who cares about first contact?
Well, it's
And
not
if
going to
they're there
happen.
stop-
It's not going to happen though.
What do
They
you mean?
assimilate Earth from the past. First contact never happens because Zephyr Cochrane doesn't do the warp
Yes.
ship.
But the problem is that it's like all the Borg had to do then was drop one torpedo big enough to nuke Montana. Mission accomplished.
Yeah, but then we wouldn't have a movie. I mean, you're right, but then we wouldn't have a movie.
Right.
So.
But if the Borg wanted to prevent first contact, it's like, why? Why not just go and start assimilating the Vulcans too?
Have they been invented yet? The time cops? I don't know.
Oh, the Federation, the
temporal
whatever,
enforcement
the time
agent
ship and all that.
Yeah.
No, that wasn't until Voyager.
Yeah.
Or no, Deep Space Nine when we first get well, let's see, did the temporal mechanics people, was that episode of Deep Space Nine Trials and Tribulations, was it before or after this?
It's a good question. I'll try to research it. Tribulations. So Trials and Tribulations was season 5, episode 6, came out November 6, 1996. So it would have been right around the same time that this movie came out, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. Because this movie came out before Thanksgiving that year. So it was right around the same time.
And so ABJ says the Sphere is just a Borg shuttlecraft. It doesn't have the full-powered weapons or defense. So
well, it certainly makes sense.
But
based
you know
on how
what?
easily it was destroyed,
But are you saying the Sphere's torpedoes aren't torpedoes?
Oh, I don't know if that's what he's saying. I just meant I thought he was referring to how easy it was to.
Well, he is. He's talking
destroyed.
about why it was so easy to take them down and all that. But okay, the Sphere is 914 meters in diameter. Although the design team that worked on First Contact finally decided it was meant to be only 457 meters. But what did they say in, let's see. No, I'm going to have to look this up real quick. No, I'm being a research department. Let's see, it's on Paramount Plus. And we'll go to Star Trek Enterprise. And it was season 2, I think. Was that where Regeneration was? Or was it season 1?
Super chat.
Oh, and Alex says maybe the Borg time sphere had weak torpedoes. But how does that make any sense? I mean, the Borg are, if nothing else, the Borg are extremely utilitarian. So I don't think the Borg would purposely nerf their weapons, especially on a ship that was a desperation move ship.
This is funny.
What's that?
We are the Borg. We are here for Five Guys. Chicken is futile.
Oh, that sounds good now. We have to say that, jerk.
Oh, I was just reading. You hear that old man? He called you a jerk. I was just reading old man's text.
Let's see.
Message.
So subtitles are
Chat.
on. All right.
All Anyways, man, you want me to see Godzilla so we can review it. You should be. This should be the one time you allow me to get a donation so I can buy a movie ticket. Or the donation could be a Fandango gift card so I can go watch the movie and review it with you. Because I know you don't like
have a way
those.
to give you a Fandango gift card.
I know you don't. I'm talking about instead of getting mad. Never mind.
Well, if somebody wants to give him a Fandango gift card, give him a Fandango.
Okay,
gift
and you won't get mad about that. Okay, all right.
If you want us to review Godzilla.
If you want us to review the new Godzilla movie, yeah. Because of the whole job thing getting kicked back a little bit, I went ahead and I gave the last of the money that I had to Betty towards the April rent just because. Did I tell you about that guy Tim that stole money from her? I'll tell you off the air if I didn't already. Did I tell you about that?
No,
okay, yeah. So anyway.
Your drama, dude, is just stupid.
I got to get out of this house, man. Yeah.
Come on.
Danny's Amazon wish list. I mean, no, my wish list, although 90% of the stuff on the wish list has to do with this show, a Fandango gift card is not one of those items. But thank you, Dinner Bells. Yes,
I don't know. Can you get a Fandango gift card on Amazon?
I don't know if you can't. Maybe. I mean, hell, you can get anything on Amazon. At least it seems like it.
You could just become an AMC Super Stubs member or whatever they call it. Or do you have
the AMC theater is so far away. I mean, we have one, but Cinemark is. I could literally walk to the Cinemark theater if I had to. Not that I would, but you know, I typically. That's why I do the XD because Cinemark doesn't have IMAX because of some kind of thing, so they have XD, which is huge and it's got that Dolby sound system where it make the chairs rattle and you know.
All right, I'm trying to see. Hang on, Trace. She doesn't mean it's on the glacier. A lot more here. What we're seeing. I'm trying to find because they actually say the size of the Borg sphere in Enterprise.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, but I'm trying to remember what the size was. Let's see. Let's see. Here we go. Find. All right. So 600 meters in diameter.
Okay.
So
it's pretty small. It's basically just 6 football fields.
Oh, just 6 football fields.
I mean, compared to like a Borg cube, that's tiny, you know.
Well, but keep in mind, that's a sphere because the Enterprise E is 685 meters from stem to stern.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a sphere that's diameter is as big as the total length of the Enterprise.
Yeah.
So the mass of the sphere has got to be at least, 20 times that of the Enterprise? And you're telling me a single volley of torpedoes takes it down?
Weren't they quantum torpedoes?
So? And by the way, and you know how much of a pet peeve this is with me. Quantum torpedoes should do less damage.
Yeah.
Because quantum literally means smallest.
Yeah.
Anyway. So they decide to beam down to the planet.
Well, not only that, Ariel, or let me put that up so you know what I'm responding to. Not only that, but we got that scene in Picard season 3 where the Enterprise D, the fat one, was able to maneuver all throughout the inside of a Borg cube.
Well, that was a stupid super cube that they invented for that. That was only
that was a bigger cube. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, that was the new Borg super cube. Which was so dumb. It was the Death Star cube.
Yeah, I need to go back and watch that again. Yeah. That was a good. I know you don't.
So the crew beamed down to see how many bicycles the Borg wrecked. And Picard and Data start pleasuring themselves on the ship. And Lily starts shooting at them. And your favorite visual effect right there. the Data drop scene.
Yeah.
And that was such a bad visual effect.
Yeah.
I was really surprised that is in this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, look at his arms. They're like out of proportion. Anyway, so, and then we find out that while Data can be severely damaged by an arrow, he's apparently bulletproof.
Yeah.
Because, sure, why not?
Yeah.
And so, meanwhile, back on the Enterprise, we find out that Geordi is a racist.
Oh my God, whatever. You said this during the stream also.
It's true. Why is it that the A-Team, which is literally what he calls to go down to the planet to fix Cochrane's ship.
Yeah, but how can he be racist when he's got a black guy on the A-Team?
Yeah, but show me any alien representation on his A-Team.
Again, isn't that speciesist?
No, but we already talked about this. A species, if two members of different species cannot reproduce and have fertile children.
It's kind of like how the arrow did in Achilles. Sometimes people get lucky with those arrow shots. You see what Dinner Bells is saying here.
Dinner Bell actually, he got lucky with the arrow shot because he actually said that if the arrow had hit him slightly differently, it would have done some serious damage. But so a species, if Klingons and humans are a different species, then they wouldn't be able to have children. But we see they can have children. Vulcans and humans can have children. Vulcans and Romulans can have children. Humans
Remember
and
that
Romulans can have
episode
children.
of Enterprise where they were like, they didn't think that Trip and T'Pol could actually successfully have a baby together.
And yet it's commonplace by later on. So
yeah. I mean, look at Spock. So
that was just them trying to put drama into it.
Mm-hmm. Man, I really wish they would give Enterprise one more, just reveal that was a holodeck program and Trip didn't really die, kind of thing.
Well, I told you, I'm all for a sequel series.
Or even just give me a movie. Even if it's a TV movie, just make it straight
No. Dude, people get hung up on the idea of movies. We need a series.
No, we do, but...
Okay, so don't I don't want to see another Star Trek movie ever. I really don't. Because Star Trek movies are always trying to become something that Star Trek is not, which is bigger, bombastic.
Have you seen the, I think Daniel's Hot Topic sent it to me. Let me take a look. Let me see. Where is he?
If it's rumor mill stuff about Star Trek, I don't want to.
It's the, no, it wasn't him. It was somebody else. I got to find. But anyways, it's apparently there's a featurette about the Section 31 movie because it just wrapped on production recently.
Right.
Which
I think is going to suck, by the way, but that's just...
Hey, at least it does have Michelle Yeoh in it. I didn't know that.
That doesn't matter. She was the dumbest thing on...
whatever. She was like my favorite. She's the only thing about Discovery that's worth watching.
You just like looking at her because she's old and she, for someone her age, she's definitely attractive. But
she could kick some ass. I'd be like, Mommy, please.
Can't. She can pretend to. But
she can beat my ass anytime she wants.
Yeah,
it'd be like Klingon sex. That's just a foreplay, baby. Bring it on.
Yeah. Anyway, the whole idea.
It's my fault. I forgot how sex works. It's been too long. So
yeah, the whole idea of a Section 31 show flies in the face of what Star Trek has always been about.
No, I'm agreeing with you. It's a brainchild of Alex Kurtzman, so it's probably not going to be good.
It has nothing to do with... I know people like to rag on Alex Kurtzman. Alex Kurtzman is not the Antichrist, all right? Yes, he's the executive producer of Star Trek Discovery, but a lot of people forget he's not the creator of Star Trek Discovery. And in fact, most of the things that have improved about Star Trek Discovery were because of him.
Why did they? Well, never mind. I don't want to sidetrack us. We're already running long. Although I don't have anything to do until AA, which I don't have to leave for 3 hours.
And by the way, I agree with you, Dinner Bells. I don't, not so much Tomorrow Never Dies, but I did think Michelle Yeoh was awesome in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Oh hell yeah, she was great in that movie. Yeah.
But anyway, what were you going to say?
Oh, I don't recall. Oh, I was just saying, if we want to do an insanely super long stream, I actually don't even have to go anywhere for 3 hours. So, you know.
Well, I don't want to be doing it that long because I haven't had dinner.
Oh.
So I'm going to be making dinner.
Hey, look, son, or sir. I don't know why I said son, sir. You know, just the other day on the phone, you were talking about how you're not a fan of being the heaviest you ever been in your life. You realize you can skip a meal and it won't kill you. You know, just saying, you'll be fine.
I haven't had anything to eat today.
Oh, so you're intermittent fasting. Good.
Not by choice.
No, Ariel, it was a Freudian slip. Maybe, I don't know, but he's not. I'm not his daddy. That's for sure. So
then we get, like she just looks like, I mean, she's like the female version of Marty Feldman. Right? There were those eyes of hers.
You know, last time I smoked a cigar, I was enjoying a nice chilled glass of.
Oh my God! Why do I care?
Bourbon. No,
I don't.
Because I
see that look on her face. That's how I'm feeling right now.
I'm just bringing it up because I don't eat. People would be like, "Oh, doesn't that?" You know, I am very lucky. I think it's the medication. I don't crave alcohol anymore. I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky.
Don't. You know what? That's great, but you're still going to your meetings and all that.
I'm going.
Thinking, I don't need that anymore.
No. I'll tell you what, man. I love the meetings. I've been going every single day. I'm going to go every day for at least 90 days, and I'll probably keep going.
I'm going to bring back the Stay on Target meme.
There you go. Yes, you should. The little video, Stay on Target. Stay on Target.
Yeah, you need to shut up for a minute. All right, so Mr. Hawk explains to Picard that the temperature in engineering is exactly the same as Alabama.
Games you love. I suppose you're kind of roasting me a little bit, but yes, you're on his channel. This is also streaming live on my channel, so it's half my channel, I guess. I don't know. Again, I'm only 20 subscribers away from hitting the 400 milestone. The link to my channel is in the chat. Hop over, give me a quick thumbs up, and subscribe just to help the show out because it helps us both. The more people that see Nerd Fights, the more exposure the show gets, and then we can afford things like T-shirts.
It's not getting more people to watch Nerd Fights to get them to move from one channel showing Nerd Fights.
No, it's an exponential thing. It's an exponential thing.
It's not.
It is because when people do that, it shows up in their feed and their friends who may not be subscribed to either of us.
Because it shortens the amount of time they watch the stream on one of those channels, and so it actually hurts us in the algorithm to have them bounce between them.
Well, no, I'm not saying leave. Like I got your channel there, and I guess not everybody has multiple screens, and then I have my channel here.
Hold on. Now, most of these people are probably watching this in a Google browser, and Google browsers send information as to whether or not they are watching this tab or that tab, and if they see you switching back and forth, that hurts.
Fair enough. Although,
and they also, by the way, watching it muted also hurts. So whatever you do, you're not doing anybody any favors by putting on videos and watching them muted.
Well, first of all, mine are not muted. My volume is down. So here, to prove it, watch. See, my volume dial's right here.
I'm not talking about you. I wasn't talking about you specifically. I'm saying that, like, there are people, like, I've known people that say, oh, I just wanted to help you out your channel, so even though I can't watch it, I'm just going to put it on mute. And it's like, then you're hurting us. Don't do that.
Yeah. No, but it helps in some ways because...
I don't know what watching the videos at high speed does. I genuinely am not sure on that one.
As long as it's not muted. I mean, because some people talk so slow. I have to put it on 1.5 or double speed just
but on a live
mean?
stream, usually it's just because you came in late and you want to go back.
You want to catch up. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's probably not a hindrance to the algorithm. But if somebody is simulcasting on two different channels and you bring both of those channels up on your computer, you are hurting one of them because you're certainly not watching both of them with the volume up.
I know you aren't a fan of wrestling, but I've brought quite a few new subscribers to you because a lot of my wrestling guys come over.
Well, I appreciate that.
They get on my channel, and then I always tell people, hey, if you want to participate in the larger chat, because right now you've got, you got 37 people in your chat room, and I only have 6. So oftentimes I'll send them over there, you know.
But then you keep saying, but I only have. And so you make people feel guilty, and so then they want to switch over. And that hurts us. So stop saying that.
Aye, aye, sir.
And you're
look at that face. Look at that face. That's a hella pause right there. I was like, oh.
She looks like she's giving birth.
Yeah, is it right? Yeah.
And Kronos, to answer your question, sadly, the Canadian will no longer be on the show because he's got some stuff he's got to deal with, which takes priority over anything.
Yeah, way to make me sad. But I did promise him when I'm going to hit him up when I have the 30-day chip so I can show him because he did say he wanted to see that. So.
Right. Anyway, so Beverly looks like she's taking a really good dump right there. I
was going to say something else, but you just ruined it for me. Damn it. You had a good pause there for a split second.
Yeah.
I'm a doctor, not a doorstop. I love that line. Oh, my God.
So we get the doctor showing up because Dr. Crusher magically knows that there's Borg. But hey, whatever.
I'm pretty sure it's not hard to deduce. They've been fighting the Borg before they time traveled, and somebody's trying to beat the door into sick bay.
They're on the freaking Enterprise. There could be 8 million possible explanations for that.
Yeah. I think some of your points make really good sense. Some of them, just let them go, man. Come on, you just look.
I grant you that at least she might say she might say something like that. Hey, I think that the Borg's on the other side of that door.
No. If you want to do a real criticism,
but not only does she say it's the Borg, she knows exactly how many are there.
Yeah. So look, you've already passed the scene, but you did make a genuine criticism about that scene during our watch.
Oh yeah, about the time.
Yes. Yeah. So share that
So yes, if you time it, which I'm not going to play it out here because we don't want to get a copyright strike. But if you time it, the amount of time that Dr. Crusher spends talking to Robert Picardo's doctor,
sing a song, do a dance, I don't care.
Yeah, that whole thing where she's trying to talk him into delaying the Borg is the exact same amount of time that he actually delays the Borg, which means the net gain is 0. Because if she had just not turned on the EMH and gone out the door, it would have taken the same amount of time.
The exact same amount of time. Yeah.
So.
But it was fun seeing Robert Picardo, and I did love his callback to Bones with that line. I'm a doctor, not a doorstop.
Well, and they actually do explain that I don't remember if it's in Voyager or if it's in that episode he was in Deep Space Nine, but they explain why he does that.
Does what?
Not directly, but why he says I'm a doctor, not a
doorstop, or I'm a doctor.
He says I'm a doctor, not a fill in the blank, quite a bit on Voyager as well.
Yeah. Why is that? Then I must have missed this. Or
because his personality matrix is derived from all the best doctors of Starfleet, and they mentioned Dr. McCoy as one of them.
I got you. Okay, cool.
And so, there's one.
Do they mention Pulaski though? I
don't think they do, but she was a far.
Oh my God, guys! He pointed this out during our watch along. Again, supportsalty.com should be up tonight or tomorrow. They changed these guns. So in this scene, they're holding very phallic looking guns. The tips
look
of
at
these.
The 2 in the foreground. Oh, shoot, you're right in the way. Let's see.
Yeah.
Dork Knight.
Yeah,
Movie
move
over there. Look at that.
Yeah, look at that. Big old
Oh.
throbbing hard cock dildo right there. Later, the next scene, I think it's the next scene when they're walking down the
where
hallway.
Worf grabs one.
Yeah. The next scene when they're walking in the hallway, the guns are different. If you look at the tips, they're like silver
the
and
guns
kind of
do
blocky.
change tips a couple of times for some reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's see, is that where
Problem is, if we begin firing particle weapons and engines.
all right, so
Ariel, you're a naughty, naughty girl. That's why I like you.
well, you know, Ariel, I don't know if it vibrates, but it is ribbed.
And it certainly shoots a load for sure.
Yeah. But hey, it's not pump action like in Picard season 3.
Oh my God, get over it, man.
That was so dumb.
I thought it was badass, but that's me, you know.
And there's your favorite
she does not look healthy in this shot. Remember, I was like, I don't know if they shot this first and they shot her healthier looking scenes later, told her to eat some fucking food, but she does not look good in this shot.
Wait, do you not understand how Hollywood works? They think thinner is better, always.
She looks unhealthy in this shot.
Right.
Chat, don't you agree? I mean,
I think it's just the angle that she's at because she looks the same to me.
No, her cheeks are all sunken in, you know, like what was that word of the day again? Emaciated. Emaciated, yeah.
Emaciated?
Oh, look at that. Look at that derpy look. Great pause. Look at
that's the I just took a massive bong hit look. You see, like what you can't see is in the hand just below the screen is a big old bong.
You know, I'm not doing that anymore either. I didn't realize that's a part of AA. You're not allowed to smoke pot either. Did you know that?
Yes, we talked about this. Too bad the memory isn't improving.
Hey, they say that when you kill the brain cells, they're gone. They don't come back. It doesn't regenerate like the liver. So I got to relearn stuff. I'm sorry, you know.
So this is a scene.
Deanna. I actually do like this scene. She's funny in it.
She's funny, but she's not freaking Troy.
I know.
Right.
Yeah, I get it.
That's my problem with this
trying to keep his hand. So don't go criticizing my counseling techniques. You're blended, all right. It's a funny scene.
That was a pause.
Can't you play like 5 seconds of it? It's so funny.
No, because I hate that scene.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so this is the same Zephyr and Cochrane that we see in Metamorphosis.
Yeah, for First Contact Day, we should, spend about 30 minutes. We can talk about Metamorphosis. I'll make a fun graphic you can put up or something,
And ABJ, you know what? Yeah, she's been drinking, but,
something called tequila.
Yeah, because apparently all of a sudden they don't know what tequila is in the 24th century.
I mean, I don't blame them. Tequila is terrible. Even when I did drink, I stayed away from that shit. That's tequila. It's appropriately named. You drink that tequila.
I don't hate tequila, but
yeah, not a fan. Not a fan.
And here, of course, we get one of 17 shots of the Enterprise E just lumbering around doing nothing. Yeah, Jin is worse, Dan. Jin is the worst.
Okay,
here you go.
Hold up. Now look at the gun. Yeah. The tips of the guns are different here, guys.
Yeah.
Get to it. Come on. Lift the damn gun up.
Actually, if we back it up a little bit, I think. All right.
Maybe it's when they cut back afterwards.
Yeah, right there you can see it.
Oh, okay. Move your head. Yeah.
Well, you can do that too.
I can? Oh, no, I just screwed up and I moved something else. Oh, shit. Now I removed us all.
You removed us? What are you talking about?
At least on my end.
No, you didn't.
All I see now is Picard. But yeah, there's the tip. Do you see it?
Click outside of the movie frame.
Oh, okay. I just did. Okay. There you go.
So
yeah, look at that tip, guys. Totally different gun. But when we see him later, he's got the penis gun again. It's just weird. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
It doesn't,
I mean, it's
Continuity.
like
We're the continuity police on this movie. Come on.
and there's Data with the other kind of gun there.
Yeah, with the non-phallic looking one.
And so, yeah, so now she's sitting there, because look, you can see she's lost a bunch of weight too. Look how.
Well, she's always had high cheekbones. She's always had high pronounced
Not like
cheekbones.
that, dude.
Yeah.
You compare that to how she looked in TNG, they both lost a bunch of weight.
Yeah.
And that, because that's the Hollywood thing, is women are supposed to be scrawny, and for whatever reason, which I don't like that. But
I don't either.
oh yeah, and look at that. There's the nice close-up shot. Let me here, we'll just raise this up for people to see. Look at that nice big thick barrel.
Yeah. My God.
It's just, I mean, and the shape of the head of it coming down to the ribbed shaft is just, that's so funny.
So hold up a second. Look at her face there. That's from the series. Looks, high pronounced cheekbone.
Yeah, but not as
Cheeks
much.
A little bit.
She's definitely, if you look at below her cheekbones, is sunken in this movie.
Yeah, I guess they made all the chicks lose weight.
Skeletor off the screen.
I did. There you go.
All right.
Skeletor.
I'll get you, He-Man.
That's what she looks like. All right, and so then we get some of the stupid parts of the Borg here, because Picard's like, okay, everybody lower your weapons because the Borg won't attack you if you're not a threat. Which would make sense if they were on a Borg ship.
Yeah.
But
the point here
is
they're supposed to, take over the ship and assimilate everybody. So why would this work in this instance?
It wouldn't.
That's, this is one of those points you make that I concede to. That,
Yeah.
There's a gun. Yeah.
It's like, so now whenever you watch this movie now, you just have to look at the tips. Are the tips dicks? That's the question. Yeah. And look, I'm not saying you shouldn't enjoy the film. If you
I
love
do
the movie,
too, Kronos. He tried to kill the movie for me during our.
No, I didn't. I said, and I said it when we were recording, and I'm saying it now. If you like this movie, great. I don't think you're a bad person for liking a movie that I didn't like. But I'm not going to shut up and not point out the fact that this movie craps all over the lore of TNG and the Borg and Zephyr Cochrane.
Games you love? Me too, man. When we get to the end and rating, I'm not letting him skew because he almost got to me on the watch along. He did. And then I watched this again without him spewing all his venom and bile at me while watching it. And it just washed over me like a nice warm shower. It was, I love this movie.
I don't need to picture you in the shower. Okay. So, thank you for.
Fair enough.
And I do have a question for anybody that and this is not unique to this particular movie, but it's consistent with the Borg throughout Trek. Why can't they adapt to any type of?
Me down.
Okay, dude.
Sorry, Kronos. I feel you.
Why can't they adapt to any kind of physical attack?
You did mention that, and I said what, like the shields in Dune, like the body shields in Dune, kind of like that.
Not just well, look, they clearly have force fields.
Yeah.
And they can adapt to any kind of weaponry that they encounter, except for when somebody tries to punch them.
See, can you make this distinction that Planet X is making? Because you call it a bad movie, don't you? Or do you just call it a bad Star Trek movie?
Dude, see, your brain.
Look at Planet X. Look at Planet X's comment.
Yeah, I see what. Yeah, but it's your brain cells that I'm questioning, because you obviously weren't listening the 17 times I said earlier in this very same live stream that as a movie in isolation, it's a good movie.
Okay.
The problem is it's not in isolation.
I just wanted to hear you say it again. That's all. I want to clip that out of context. Like, it's a good movie. 5-star review from the Salty Trekker. Put that on the poster. The blurb on the back of the DVD. I'm just messing with you, man. Sorry. And this is me sober, guys. That's the funny part. I can still annoy him.
Oh, believe me, he can still annoy. That's true. All right. So anyway, so the Borg and Randall, small things I would agree with you. Small things shouldn't ruin the enjoyment of a movie. These aren't small things to me because I'm not watching a TNG movie. I'm watching random sci-fi movie.
You're talking to a... Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
It just happens to be on a starship called the Enterprise with a cast of characters with the same names as a bunch of people I knew from TNG, played by the same actors from TNG, but they're totally different characters. And so I can't get into that. So
it's funny because I just realized the way I feel about Star Trek V is the exact opposite of how you feel about this movie. Because I don't think Star Trek V is a good movie, but
Star Trek V isn't a good movie.
It isn't, but because it's Star Trek, I can enjoy it.
I would argue that it's
but
not
if it wasn't Star Trek, if it wasn't like Kirk and Picard and they were on like, whatever ship, I wouldn't have anything good to say about Star Trek V. So from an opposite point of view, I kind of get where you're coming from, if that makes sense,
Stan, I have a very difficult time picking a favorite TNG movie specifically. If I had to pick one, honestly, it would probably be Generations.
I thought you said Nemesis on the straight. Okay.
But here's the problem. I keep going back and forth between Generations and Nemesis because Nemesis, I think, from a structural standpoint, is probably the best film of the four. However, I think that Generations is the only one in which they act like their characters.
Yeah. Except for Kirk, but
that's Kirk. Kirk, Scotty, and Chekhov don't, but they're glorified cameos. Yeah. So I'm talking about the TNG cast.
Yeah. Kronos. I like Nemesis more than Generations, but only by default, because Generations killed my favorite Star Trek character, not once, but twice. And it made him act like
he only died once at the beginning of the film, and that's it.
Aw, thanks, ABJ. I appreciate that. I like sober.
But yeah, too. Kirk only died once, and it was at the beginning of that movie. He was never in the Nexus. What we saw in the Nexus was a hallucination from Picard.
It was Picard manifesting whatever he wanted in the Nexus, kind of thing. Yeah. Oh, Stan Lee, 100% agree. Like, if you guys check out, have you reviewed it on Critic List yet, Generations?
No, not yet.
I gave it a 30, and in my review, I said that's even being too kind. Just by default, I can't give a Star Trek movie like it's bogus, but I can't give it heinous. I can't give a Star Trek movie a heinous unless it's. I mean, if they ever come out with a Discovery movie, I might break that rule, but I doubt they will.
So here we have,
100% agree with you, ABJ. Generations dead last. See, Picard wouldn't have done this. See, I agree with you on this. Picard,
this is Picard's compassion and higher sense of evolution right here. And it's like, oh, look, one of my crew members are suffering. That'll take care of it.
Why didn't he disintegrate him? I would have just done that. Why leave the dead body there? You know what I mean?
Because he wanted him to feel as much pain as possible, and so that so that his pain would resonate throughout the Borg collective.
So now he's a sadist. Okay.
I don't know.
Damn it! That was my last cigar.
Because special effects people are, inconsistent.
Yeah.
It's like, well, now that I've done my job, I'm out of here.
Deuces.
And it's like, he could have, because and he even talks about this later in the same movie, how when he was assimilated, the rest of the crew risked everything to bring him back. And
Yeah.
so what does he do? F him.
I know. Yeah, I talked about that in our watch along. I was like, that was the point I very much agreed, because that bothered me when I first watched this by myself, not with a debate team.
Yeah.
I literally had a WTF out loud moment in the theater, and people laughed, because back then, back in the 90s, people actually showed up for Star Trek movies, when they first opened.
So then, we get this, where...
Oh, and she had it on the disintegration setting, but he couldn't. Because he says when he takes from her, you would have vaporized me or whatever.
Right. Well, and you see, that's just more inconsistent writing, because that's the same phaser.
Oh, wow. See? Yeah. Ariel's figured it out. Here it goes. Because it would have set off the alarm. I don't know if it's still...
Oh, yeah. Wouldn't want that. Because then Uhura and Scotty might have come running in.
Super chats.
Alex says, Nemesis killed Berman Trek, special level of hate.
I agree, man. I do not like Nemesis, but it's my second.
Trek was already dead before Nemesis came out. People just didn't realize it.
Yeah.
That's the problem, is that, look, the reason Nemesis is...
And yes, Trek reviewer, we reviewed Star Trek 6 like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Where have you been? Come on. And that's on Enterprise A. This is Enterprise E. I don't know if they still have those alarms. Especially during a Borg incursion on the ship. I don't know. It's like...
but yeah, Star Trek films were already long dead, because I think that Insurrection really is what killed the
I liked
TNG.
Insurrection, but it
I
wasn't...
love the look on Picard's face right there.
Yeah.
He's like, please don't pull that trigger. But I'm just saying, Insurrection, I think, is what really buried the franchise.
Insurrection would have been a good 2-part episode of the series. It was not strong enough to... It was not strong enough to be a movie. See, I won't be that mean to Insurrection. I think it would have been a good, solid 2-part.
Yeah, because everybody was so in character in that one.
Well, they were supposed to be out of character because they were basically being reverted to their teenage hormone years.
Except that they were actually just being reverted to their TNG days.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, honestly, they weren't going. I mean, it's not like Picard grew hair, and became noticeably younger. And Chrono says Venom in Star Trek would have been interested. Well,
like
why?
The comic book character Venom?
Is
he saying that because Tom?
Wait, no, he was already in Star Trek. Haven't you seen Skin of Evil?
Well, I was going to say, right. That is funny, but the actor was in Nemesis, the Venom actor. So
yeah, he played Picard.
Which I
know that originally they were going to have Patrick Stewart play Shinzon, which would have been way better.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that previously. I think when we ranked the movies.
Yeah. So here we get the absolute devastation of the Borg. This is the moment that the Borg end.
Oh, because of the Queen?
Yeah. Granted, I will say that visual effect shot of her descending, and we don't quite get that yet, so it's coming soon. And meanwhile, back on the planet.
So you guys are some kind of astronauts, or you guys are astronauts on some kind of Star Trek.
Yeah,
I hate
that is
so cringe-worthy
line. That's even worse than what does God need with a starship? I mean, there's.
It's easily worse because that was a fun line that's been quoted multiple times. People don't quote
It's been quoted because it's stupid.
No, like I said in the watch long, it reminded me of Will Smith from Suicide Squad. So what are we, some kind of Suicide Squad? Like, oh my God. Like, I hate when movies do that.
And, every time I see Jordy with those stupid contacts, it's so distracting. I put the frickin' visor on, please. So they need to do a special edition of this where they digitally add the visor.
Oh, that was funny. Alex Bogey with the jokes.
It should have been called his erection. Yes, that actually, because that's probably that's the only thing that happened for Picard is he could get it up again.
Oh God.
And we've seen your face. Just wear the damn visor. This is a big problem in Hollywood. And it's so rare to have an actor with enough humility to not do this. And the only one I know of is, now I'm forgetting his name. Played Dr. McCoy in the J.J. Abrams Star Trek films. Help me out.
Oh, Carl Urban.
Carl Urban, yeah. The only one I know is Carl Urban that has enough gumption to do this, which is everybody's got to show their freaking face. They're not happy if their face isn't on screen. Because most actors are so full of themselves that they think the only time a movie is any good is when you can see their face.
Yeah. So you're referring to Carl Urban because of Doom. He never took his helmet off, right?
You mean
or Dread.
Yeah, I was going to say no, not
Dread,
Doom.
not Doom. Dread. He was also in.
He
Doom.
was in Doom, but no, that's
I meant
why.
Dread. I meant Dread.
Yeah. But I mean, like, look at Tobey Maguire in those Spider-Man films. His mask just keeps getting shredded.
Yeah, yeah. Or Halo. A lot of the big complaint about Halo is the Master Chief takes his mask off all the time. And,
right. Or you look at, like, in the MCU, like how Captain America should not be taking his helmet off. We shouldn't be seeing inside of Iron Man's helmet all the time. But the actors have to have their face on camera.
Yeah.
And
yes, Kronos, I agree. It should be a sequel.
Dredd was awesome, yeah. Tom Hardy, Planet X saying, was an amazing actor. He did a great job in Nemesis. Yeah, I'm not saying Tom Hardy is a bad actor. But, it's like, even look at him. From to The Dark Knight Rises was a good movie, but they had to get the one shot in where you see him without the mask. Remember when they show him in the prison? Because actors in The Dark Knight Rises, where he plays Bane.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He was
also. It was only one scene, though. It was only one scene.
Yeah, I know, but the actors require that contractually. That they'll say, "Oh, I'll do the part." But
you never see Carl Urban's face in Dredd. Not once.
No, you never see his face.
Not once. You just see,
and that's why I say that, and that's consistent with the comic books, and that's why I really respect Carl Urban.
Yeah,
is because he sees the art form as being more important than him.
Yeah.
And so, and right here, don't get me wrong, I've met LeVar Burton. He's a really nice guy, but I just don't like that. And I'm sure that he was like, I'm not putting that stupid visor on again. I'm sure
probably was. Yeah, it was probably something like that.
And that's also why, how many times in Star Trek does LeVar Burton have to have the visor taken off of him so we can see those stupid milky white contacts? And ABJ, if he hated the visor, he shouldn't have taken the part. That's my opinion. If you don't, it's like, if you're like, oh, well, I would love to play Dredd, but you got to put my face on screen. Well, then you don't want to play Dredd that badly, do you? Because that's not Dredd. That's someone else whose name happens to also be Dredd, but it's not Dredd. And don't get me wrong, I do think the Stallone Dredd movie is one of those so bad it's good kind of movies.
Right.
But the fact that you go through that first part of the movie and with Dredd being Dredd, and then he just, let me take off my helmet and I'll keep it off for the rest of the film.
Well, a big part of that was he was put in jail, so he wouldn't keep his helmet in jail, or prison or whatever.
Yes, but Dredd in the comics, at least, and I haven't read all of Dredd, but you know this. In the Dredd comics, if he didn't have his helmet on, they didn't show his face.
Yeah.
And so it would have been fine if he took off his helmet, but then never have a shot where you see his face. You can see the back of his head.
Yeah.
You can see or have something obscuring.
Because I want to say there was a scene like that in Dredd when he was in the. I can't remember if I'm misremembering it.
I haven't watched Dredd in a while.
I think there's a scene where he's like in the bathroom and they just show the back of his head, like or something. I could be confusing that with Mando though. I have to. Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen Dredd.
But that's why Dredd. That's why Judge Dredd is my second favorite dystopian future movie with Sylvester Stallone and Rob Schneider.
Mm-hmm.
It was just funny Schneider. That I could say that.
Yeah. And now Rob Schneider does stand up at South Point here, which is a discount.
Schneider's
casino.
A funny guy.
No, he is funny. I saw his stand up bit a couple years ago.
But you realize that that's true. You could say, "Oh, which is your favorite early 1990s Sylvester Stallone project with Rob Schneider in a dystopian future that's also about Stallone being a cop who's disgraced?"
Judge Dredd, yeah. What is Judge Dredd?
Not
Alex?
Demolition Man?
Oh, that's true, because Rob Schneider's also in Demolition Man.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, you're right. Yeah, he was in both of those movies. That's weird. They must have got along, I guess. I don't know.
Which I think Demolition Man is a far better movie. Just saying.
And Wesley Snipes is deliciously over the top. Yeah. And when the Salty Nerds reviewed it, they made a great point. It kind of predicted the COVID times. If you go,
it predicted.
No, because nobody touches. They don't high five. They do this thing when they have sex. They don't actually physically touch each other. They put on, So
and Alex with another super chat. Thank you so much, buddy. I bet Dominion War movie with Deep Space Nine cast would have succeeded where Nemesis failed. What We Left Behind could have been a movie instead of a series finale. I
think he's talking about the part in What We Left Behind where they pitch an 8th season at the end of the.
But here's my problem with that. I would say this. I do think, because I want to preface this, I think that Deep Space Nine in every way is a better show than TNG. I like the characters more. I like the setting more. I think it's a more interesting story arc. Everything about Deep Space Nine, I think, is superior.
What is up?
What?
Oh, wow. No, I was just replying to XKR33PX. He says, "What's up?"
So you're just ignoring me.
Better you than the chat. They get upset. Like in my stream right now, this.
Do you know how to use the 3 seashells?
Extreme. What is it? Oh no. This was a conversation I had with the Salty Nerds. So they said it's supposed to be like different controls for a bidet, basically.
Yeah.
Is how they.
Anyway, but let me get back to because you were getting on me about not giving Alex enough, respect when he was super chatting, and now you want to.
Sorry.
All right, so
I was just trying to fish for donations,
Now here's the problem: do I think a Dominion War movie would have been successful? Absolutely not. And don't get me wrong, I would have loved it. You would have loved it. Danny would have loved it. Right? Every hardcore Star Trek fan out there would have gone bananas for it. But nobody who's not a diehard Star Trek fan would give a crap about it. They would be like, wait, this is Star Trek? Who's the black guy? Where's Picard or Kirk? Because the normies don't know anything about Sisko and his gang.
Right.
And the normies don't care about the Dominion War. So I don't think that it would have succeeded as far as a movie. I think having the Dominion War as a story on a series was the way to do it. Now, I would have done it a little differently, but I still think that, it would have been different. Or I think it was better as a series than it ever could have been as a movie. And yes, Stanley, look, people that were talking like, I know, we wanted an 8th season. No Star Trek series gets an 8th season. they were all set up to be 7 seasons. That was, in fact, I remember when I was younger. I'm not going to say a kid because unlike you guys, I wasn't in diapers still when TNG came out. But
neither was I. My God,
you were barely out of them.
I was in elementary school. I was in 3rd grade.
Exactly, barely out of diapers. So anyway, but it was said early on that TNG was going to go for a maximum of 7 seasons, and then they would do another Star Trek show. And then, lo and behold, Deep Space Nine came along, and they said 7 seasons, and then maybe another Star Trek show. And then Voyager came along, 7 seasons, then another Star Trek show. And then Enterprise came along, and what's his name who hated Star Trek?
Les Moonves.
Yeah,
and Alex Salty's been telling me that for a couple of years now, so I'm working on it.
What, you need to focus?
Yes, focus more. Better.
Yes. All right, so... And look, there's more Borg with crew members that Picard's not killing. You know. But, you know, screw him. Oh, and here's that shot from the trailer that I hate.
Oh, Extreme Shaft. I'm sorry, I missed a bunch of your chats in my channel. Thanks for swinging by, dude. Sorry. It's probably gone already because I didn't acknowledge him.
So why were the Borg just standing around in a dark room?
Well, your answer,
all in a line?
Your answer was for the trailer, right?
Yes, for the trailer. That's the answer. But, I mean, it's just... So then we have Lily and Picard having their little conversation.
Creep. Okay.
Yeah. And by the way, this is another one that I talked about as far as in the salty cut. This would be Sisko and Picard, not Lily and Picard. Remember, I said Sisko is knocked unconscious in that first scene,
right?
On the Defiant.
So he's the one that gets woke up in sick bay instead of
right.
No, I actually love this idea of yours.
Yeah. So when they wake him up, he's kind of disoriented, out of it. He gets separated from the rest of the group, runs into Picard, but now he's holding a phaser at him because he thinks it's Locutus because the Borg, and now he sees Picard in front of him. In this scene, in particular, now the original way it went down, obviously we know Lily is like, you know, what's going on, and he's trying to convince her that she's on a spaceship and doesn't believe him until he opens up the window. And in my version, we have basically Sisko saying, why did you help the Borg assimilate Earth? And then he would roll up the window and say, is that the Earth you remember? Because we're, however many 100 years in the past, and try to explain to him that the Borg haven't been dealt with yet. And I also think this is a really stupid system. So there's no glass or transparent aluminum. Because what's the point of this room?
Yeah, what is this room? I don't know. Yeah.
Well, I think the official explanation is it's a cargo bay, but it's too small to be a cargo bay. Because are you telling me that all the windows on the Enterprise E, are just force fields? Because what happens if the power goes out? Does everybody on the ship just die?
Well, he opens the blast doors first.
Yes, I know. But if every window on the ship is just a force field.
Well, I don't think every window is a force field. I think they use the transparent aluminum for the windows.
Then what is this?
I don't know.
It's too small to be a cargo.
It had blast doors, you know.
Yeah, I know, but it just doesn't make sense.
Maybe it's some kind of port, like a docking port, maybe.
But they're in a room with like little bits and bobs in it.
Yeah, I don't know.
It just doesn't make sense. It's too small to be a shuttle bay. It's too small to be a cargo bay. It just doesn't make sense. But whatever. So then he points out, oh, look, this would have vaporized me. Kind of like what I did to Ensign Lynch.
So,
we'll get to Ensign Lynch. All right, so here we go. Now we get the queen descending from the ceiling.
That's
What
a
was she?
creepy cool shot.
It is. Although I want to know, what was she doing up there?
Good point.
Any ideas? I mean, hold on. I'm going to leave my body and go up to the ceiling for a couple hours. I don't get it.
Maybe she was interfacing with the ship, like she stuck her spine in some port on the ship, like R2 seems to be able to do with
like a spiner. See what I did there? And so this is where we get a lazy writing scene where they try to explain what the queen is without explaining what the queen is. And I showed you a video, about my theories on this, but
yes, you did.
The problem with this is that she says, Data's like, oh, do you control the collective? And she's like, I am the collective. No, she's not. She controls the collective.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's what she meant by I am the collective. I mean, you could, everything's open to interpretation. So.
But we did, the collective are just zombies at her control.
So Chief Cook seems to think it's a drug smuggling port.
No, that could be.
Yeah. Escape pot window. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and we missed the part earlier, but where now Data can just turn off his emotion chip because why not?
Yeah, that was, cheap.
They could have made the whole Data's emotion chip thing a serious thing in Generations instead of just being a stupid comic relief thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they could have made it his weakness here because we can't turn off our emotions. And so Data would be terrified here.
Yeah.
And he'd be trying to hide it, but he's not very good at hiding it because he's only had emotion for, a year or so.
Mm-hmm.
So Stanley says, so the collective is then just one consciousness rather than a collective consciousness kind of ruins the concept. Well, it makes no sense. And in Voyager, it gets even worse because in Voyager, the Queen actually talks to the collective. Like they are completely separate entities.
Yeah.
Her thoughts are not their thoughts. Their thoughts are not her thoughts. She controls them. But not only that, she gives them orders audibly. And Alex, not sure what you mean.
Maybe he's behind a little bit. I don't know.
Picard outranks Sisko so he would not do it. If he
hold him at gunpoint, basically, or phaser point.
Maybe you don't understand. Sisko thinks Picard is a traitor.
Yeah,
that's the point of my version. If someone outranked you, but you thought they were a traitor, you would still.
You wouldn't care if they outranked you because the fact that they're a traitor makes that null and void.
Yeah, well, let me say this. When I was in the Army, I was in the military police. Rank means nothing when it comes to that. If you break the law, whether it be civilian law if you're off base or the UCMJ if you're on base, then it doesn't matter if you're a 5-star general or an E1. And you're still going to get arrested. At gunpoint if necessary. And so then she straps some skin on Data and blows on him.
What a cold description for such a, what'd she say, beautiful gift or something like that?
Yeah. And there's Data enjoying her blowing.
Yes.
Nothing, no symbolism going on here.
I mean, they are going to bang here in a little bit.
Yes, but, And so here's your favorite part.
What?
There are 24 decks.
Well, first of all, there's 24 decks,
It's
not 26.
Not 26.
Almost 700 meters long.
It took me 6 months to scrounge up enough titanium just to build a 4-meter cockpit.
Pause it.
So this is where she asks him how much it costs to build the Enterprise.
Yeah, this is not my favorite part, but like this was the part. These discussions were what got all my debate friends who'd never watched Star Trek before hung up. How does the economy of Star Trek work? You know, still to this day, we don't really know. So,
and Creep thinks it was bad writing, Sisko Picard. Okay, I think it's better writing than what we got here. I mean, that's fine. If you
I think he's referring. I don't think he's referring to your salty cut ideas. I think he's referring to the pilot episode of DS9. That's what I think.
I don't. I think the idea that Sisko holds Picard. Remember, his wife died in his arms because of Locutus.
Yeah.
And so, you know, the idea that Sisko never got over that, I'm perfectly okay with that.
Yeah, I knew what you're talking about, Creep.
Yeah.
But
Chief Cook says the First Contact episode is better than the movie First Contact.
no.
Can't argue with you there.
No, I can't. That's poppycock.
Well, Chief Cook finally said something intelligent. Give him a break.
No, you
And
just
keep in mind,
managed to brainwash
Sisko is not Picard. Sisko doesn't have a record of being an intellectual and a diplomat. Sisko
brother's got a hot head,
Sisko punched Q in the face.
right? Yeah,
You know,
which took balls because Q could have just been like and just wiped him from existence like that.
So
Well, Alex, we don't get a sex scene, but if Salty's right, and I should have pointed it out when we saw Data lying on the bed.
When we see Data later, he's wearing a different outfit because
after they have the sex
bang.
talk. Yeah. So the insinuation is that they banged.
Yes. And that's standard PG.
Yeah,
banging.
you can get a more detailed description of that in the watch along because you know.
So again, why aren't the Borg? And by the way, especially considering, okay, so if we want to take into account the Queen has a personal thing with Picard, and yet she doesn't, and she sees everything the drones see. Why isn't she immediately, even if she doesn't want to assimilate him, drag his butt into engineering? You know?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't. You're right. But I still like the movie.
And so then they go into the holodeck, yeah, which again makes no sense, because he goes through all this trouble of trying to find the right holodeck program, of changing Lily's outfit, of doing all this stuff when all he needed to do, because remember, he could turn off the safeties with just a few keystrokes now, because why not? All he had to do was go, computer, create, 17 21st century soldiers with machine guns who will obey my every order. And then as the Borg come in, hail of bullets.
Yeah. It's the actor that plays Neelix, Andy. It's not the actual character, Neelix.
It's Ethan something. Yeah. And so then he realizes he selected the wrong chapter in order to get a Tommy gun. Like, he couldn't just say, computer, give me a Tommy gun.
Right.
And yes, Kronos, it does have to make sense for it to be good storytelling. And then we get... because that is freaking Picard.
No, that's like Duncan from Dune. That's more of that.
Yeah, tell me again how great this is. R.I.P. Picard.
I do too, Kronos. He doesn't know how to have fun. Yeah.
And then he just rips out Ensign Lynch's processor, at which he's like,
I thought it was a transponder.
Yeah, whatever. And
The MacGuffin.
board part.
Yeah.
And she's like, Picard, this is one of your men. Yep, it was Ensign Lynch. You know, doesn't even give a crap.
Yeah. I got to get to the bridge.
You know, this is not Picard. I'm sorry, it just isn't. Meanwhile, this is not Cochrane. At least Geordi put on some sunglasses. It's a little better.
Yeah. You brought up a good point. Why would Geordi not know what a leak is? That's a little bit later. But when a guy says, I got to take a leak, I'm not detecting any leaks.
Well, he doesn't know what take a leak is, but he knows what P means.
Yeah.
And P is not the proper term.
Yeah.
And so if leak has gone out of style by the 24th century, fine. But I'm sure P would have as well. Because how did you say it, a couple hundred years ago? If you heard somebody say whatever the vernacular was for piss 200 years ago, you might not recognize the term.
Yeah.
In fact, where piss even comes from is if somebody would most likely say, I need to pass water.
Yeah.
To which you would say, huh? Pass it to who? Just like Geordi said, leak. I don't detect any leaks.
Right.
But, and so this is Geordi being stupid.
Statue with your hand reached twin stars.
Where he's like, so I shouldn't tell you this. And then he proceeds to tell him.
Yeah. Hey, famous bearer, welcome.
Hey, famous bearer, how you doing?
Shows up after the 3-hour mark. And we're only halfway through the movie. So we'll be here till 9. Yeah.
No, we're going to probably finish this on first contact day. Oh, goodness, because we are running out of time. I didn't realize how late it was getting. Let's see. What day is first? Yeah, first contact day is next Friday.
Week from tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that... So we are pretty much exactly halfway through the film.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah. What an appropriate time to stop, right when they piss.
Yeah, we can make this a stopping point and finish it on first contact day. And then
after that, we can go over half of first contact. Yeah, dropping a deuce. Imagine if you said that to her.
Yeah.
I got to drop off the kids at the pool. What?
Yeah. I got to go number 2.
Yeah. Yeah, number 2. What's wrong with number 1? So, yeah, there's now everybody's just going to be thinking of pee jokes for the rest of the night.
Or poop jokes. Taking the Browns to the Super Bowl. That's funny.
I've not heard that one.
I hadn't either. That's a good one.
But it does make sense.
Yeah.
But so again, as a film, I'm not saying it's a bad movie. The problem is it craps all over Star Trek. And so, that's a problem. At least it is for me. But tomorrow, we're going to be talking about Ghostbusters,
Frozen Empire,
as well as the 3rd episode of X-Men 97, the one where Danny cries twice.
Did you figure it out? You think you figured it out?
Well, one of them is obvious, but
yeah.
I'm not sure on the other one.
Okay.
So I told my wife that you cried twice, and she's like, of course he did.
Yes. Apparently it's a known thing. Like I said, Blaine brought it up on his show. I'll have to watch that now just so I can clip it out.
Yeah. So, for those of you that don't know, Danny likes to cry a lot.
It's good for the soul, man. It's cathartic.
you are your best to wreck doing your best to wreck the film. I'm not trying to wreck the film. I'm simply pointing out the facts.
Yeah. And with that,
and Life with Matthew. Oh my gosh, who is that guy?
Oh wow.
Yeah. I remember when something about Nomad and Friday, mystery movie night with Matthew. Don't know what
It's that guy, huh?
Right I don't know. It couldn't be that guy.
I thought he died.
No, he stabbed me in the back. I think he betrayed.
So he was
me.
just dead to you, not really dead.
Yeah. He's not really dead. He's just dead to me. Yeah, that's. Yeah, your facts are uncoordinated. So I did actually 3D print one test run of a Nomad model, and guess where it is?
It used to be behind you. Where is it now?
No, that's just a part. I mean, I printed all of it.
Oh.
Guess where it is?
Life with Matthew have it?
Yes.
Would you gift it to him or something?
No. He was going to help me to develop the electronics to make it blink.
Oh, light up and stuff. Okay.
Yeah. No, anyway. Matthew, it's actually good to see you. I hope you're doing well, buddy. And so, and as much as I give, Nomad is staring at me, mocking me, rebuking me. It should be. No, but in all honesty, Matthew had to stop doing the movie night thing because he had some stuff come up in his personal life, which I certainly, he had an opportunity, and I do not fault him for taking it. I just fault him for stabbing me in the back doing it.
Oh, well, yeah. So everyone, thank you for joining us. We're going to do part 2 of this review a week from tomorrow on First Contact Day. Michael, is there anything else you want to tell the people maybe about why we changed the time or something like that?
Well, we're still not sure.